close on so many drives and putting points on the board. That's something that I think, is behind them. At the same time, they know how close they are to still being undefeated at this point in the season. Like you said, the Maryville St. Pius games are still a few weeks away, but they need to take care of business this week and continue doing what they have been doing up until this point.
We look around the region and some other games that you guys will be keeping an eye on tonight, and boy, what a start has it been for Reggie Trotter in the Central Indians there in St. Joseph.
Yeah, and good for Coach Trotter, right? I mean, he took over a Central program that was looking for some stability. I mean, he was the fourth coach in 4 years back when he took over. Coach Jeff Wallace was there. Coach Pitts was there for a year. Coach Ball was there for a year. Coach Trotter comes in after the changeover at Missouri Western with Coach Partridge's staff. And the first couple years, a lot of growing pains for the Central program. And some of that, too, the talent wasn't as deep as it is now. But these guys, especially seniors, are starting to see, all the hard work they put in paying off. Because those freshman, sophomore years weren't exactly fun years for them, so to speak. If you look at the win-loss records, last year they started seeing glimpses of it. First time in almost 40 years that they're 4-0. And part of that, too, I think when people see that, they're like, wow, has it been that bad for Central that long? No, it's the schedule they play at times. I mean, a lot of times you'd see them play like a Staley early on, at least Summit type of team, a Liberty North. The bigger Kansas City schools would be early in the season, so even when the Central had really good years, they weren't able to start 4-0. Now this team's 4-0. Coach Trotter just got named the Kansas City Chiefs Coach of the Week on the Missouri side of things. He was also named it last year, too, at one point in the season. But a lot of good things for Central going on, and now they get North Kansas City and Coach Douglas's crew on the road down there. And North KC is a really good football program, but at the same time, Central, their defense has been really good this year. They're a lot bigger, faster this year, and I think this is a team with a chance to start 5-0 if they execute tonight against North Kansas City.
Well, that's good to see. They've had some great coaches through the years. You think back, Tony Dudek's a legend in St. Joseph. Some great players, the Michael Hills, Ben Peasters, Jeremy Westons, Caleb Wells, just weren't quite able to get to this point. Pretty special right now at Central there in St. Joseph. Chris, thanks for the time, and we will look forward to talking again soon.
As always, Matt, it's a pleasure.
That's KQ2's Chris Roush. We'll take a break and be back with Maryville head coach Matt Webb.
Support for the Spoof Hounds on radio comes from the Maryville Forum. For over 150 years, the Forum served the area with local news, sports, and information in print or online at maryvilleforum.com. More at 660-562-2424. And from Northwest Missouri Regional Credit Union, serving the area since 1933, offering loans, savings, and checking accounts, credit cards, share certificates, and online banking. Located at the intersection of Highway 71 and East South Avenue. Today, tomorrow, together. And the United States Air Force, offering more than 130 career choices, education, benefits, and more. Full and part-time opportunities are available now. For more information, Technical Sergeant Katrina Smith can be reached at 816-341-8227 or online at airforce.com. Support also comes from local internet provider United Fiber, providing a variety of fiber-fast internet plans for residents and businesses with speeds up to 1 gig. More information at unitedfiber.com.
Today's broadcast is underwritten by Consumers Oil Company in Maryville. Consumers Oil carries a full line of feeds from Purina and Land O'Lakes, along with Gates water tanks and bulk bins to fit a variety of needs. More information in-store at 101 North Depot or online at consumersoil.com. And Heinlein Home Furnishings on South Main in Maryville. Locally owned and operated, Heinlein has been in business for more than 60 years, offering mattresses and furniture from Ashley, Lazy Boy, England, Serta, and more. Information at HeinleinHomeFurnishings.com. Support also comes from Hy-Vee, a proud supporter of the Maryville R2 School District. Hy-Vee offers catering for game day or any special occasion, grocery delivery service, pharmacy with drive-thru, a full-service floral shop, and more. For information, Hy-Vee.com or 1217 South Main in Maryville. This broadcast is also underwritten by U.S. Bank, providing banking services to Northwest students and the community. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Spoofhound Athletics and Maryville High School. More on their products, services, and locations is at usbank.com.
You're tuned in to Maryville Spoofhound Pregame on KXCV KRNW, underwritten by Northwest Cell.
Maryville High School football hosting Cameron this evening. We're talking with head coach Matt Webb. And, Coach, at the start of the day we had some rain showers, a little bit of a threat of thunderstorms, but things have cleared off. It's a beautiful night for football and just a chance to kind of get back into things for the other home game.
Yeah, you bet. It's homecoming, and, always old coach adage, you want to win the first one of the year. We didn't do that. You want to win homecoming, and then you remember, because that's what you remember, and then you want to go as far as you can and beat your rivals. So we've still got a lot to accomplish if we want to accomplish those goals. So it's an important week. Like you said, it's cleared off. It's beautiful weather, and should be a great night.
You've got a pretty seasoned group overall, but homecoming can always come with some distractions. How's the week of practice been and the focus of these guys right now?
We've had a great week. It's a lot of fun events throughout the week as a student. It's important for these guys to be a student and enjoy those things. And then when it comes time to practice, it's time to practice and focus on your opponent. And we've had a really good week of that. The guys have had a great week of prep, and that's one of those things they keep talking about. This team is learning. So there's always noise around spoof-hound football, and you got to find a way to not listen to the noise and focus on what you can control.
You go from a come from behind, back and forth win last week. How do you make sure that results in energy this week and not kind of resting on the laurels at all?
Well, you listen to the Bob Seger song that was redone by Metallica, which I prefer that version, and I've heard Philip Horn, personally sing that, Turn the Page song really well. So you turn the page, you move on, and that's we talk about going 1-0 every week. But it's been a big point of emphasis this week. We started talking about it early, and you enjoy those dramatic victories like we had last week. But boy, it comes on you quick because Cameron's a very capable opponent, and they do a lot of things well. And we're going to need to be ready, be prepared to play our best.
They kind of have the other end of things, an emotional loss in overtime to Chillicothe. A team that wants to come out and run the ball a lot. What do you expect from Cameron tonight?
Well, I expect just that. Their recipe for success is to really control the clock and use their option game and their run game to keep the opponent's offense off the field. And they've Coach Bell, Wes Bell, has done an outstanding job of this is year 2 for him. So really see a lot of improvement, and their players play hard, and he's got them listening. You can tell they've been in the weight room, and certainly a program on the rise.
Green on green on green tonight. Is this your choice for the traditional look for the uniforms?
It's homecoming. Let's go traditional, and kids love it, and we're blessed to have a lot of options, so they look great.
Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Matt.
Maryville head coach Matt Webb will take a break. Back with your starters on KXCV, KRNW.
Support for Spoof Hound football comes from Midwest Data Center, specializing in IT and cybersecurity services, including advanced threat monitoring, intrusion prevention, and zero trust solutions. Midwest Data Center, located just off the square in Maryville and online at mwdata.net. And from Nucor LMP on East 1st in Maryville, specializing in cold finish steel products while emphasizing safety for its employees. Nucor is a proud supporter of Spoof Hound Athletics. For more information, 660-582-3127. And Compass Dental Group, providing full dentistry from braces and implants to same-day crowns and more, from doctors Bruce Twaddle, Brian Viertaler, and Spencer Twaddle. Compass Dental Group proudly supports Spoof Hound Athletics. For information, compassdentalgroup.com. Support also comes from Oak Point in Maryville, an assisted living community that offers residents help with medications, meals, personal care, and more. For information on services or upcoming events, facebook.com/Oak Point of Maryville.
This Spoof Hound broadcast is underwritten by FCS Financial of Maryville. FCS is a customer-owned ag lender that served Missouri for over a century with loans for farm equipment, livestock, beginning farmers, hunting land, rural homes, and more. For more information, myfcsfinancial.com. And from Hallelujah Counseling on South Main in Maryville, offering Christian-based mental health counseling. Services include anxiety and depression therapy, trauma counseling, stress management, relationship issues, and more. To schedule a consultation, 660-223-1700. Support also comes from Hy-Vee, a proud supporter of the Maryville R2 School District. Hy-Vee offers catering for game day or any special occasion, grocery delivery service, pharmacy with drive-thru, a full-service floral shop, and more. For more information, Hy-Vee.com. Also from Laclede Chain Manufacturing on East 1st Street in Maryville. Laclede is a family-owned company producing various chains for hardware, industrial, snow chains, and more. Additional information is available at lacledechain.com.
You're tuned in to Maryville Spoof Hound Pregame on KXCV KRNW. Underwritten by Northwest Cell.
Welcome back out to the Hound Pound as we are getting set for the coin toss here. Maryville hosting Cameron. It is homecoming here at the Hound Pound as you're tuned in to KXEV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe. Maryville 3-1 overall, 2-0 in conference play, coming off a 46-42 win over St. Pius last week. On the other side, it is Cameron. They're 2-2 overall, 0-2 in the MAC, and they suffered a 26-20 loss in overtime to Chillicothe back in Week 4. Alongside Philip Porn, I'm Matt Tritton. Philip, let's go and bring us the starting lineups for this evening's game.
All right, your starters tonight: sophomore Phoenix Phillips, freshman Mace McKim, senior Owen Wonderly, senior Landon Liebhart, and junior Lucas Viertaler. That is your offensive line. They've played great football over the course of the last 3 games. Your tight end tonight is Cooper Gassler, senior, number 41. Don Allen, the hero of the fourth quarter last week, or one of the heroes of that big interception. Number 23, Don, is a running back tonight. Tucker Turner, another guy that had some heroic moments last week, number 26, a senior. Colton Amy, a senior, number 7. And your 2 record setters, Derek Quinlan is your quarterback, number 4. He's a senior, threw for 409 yards last week and broke a single-game record that's held for about 25 years. Delton Davis is your wide receiver, number 11. Again, another record breaker. Last week, 181 yards receiving, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Along that defensive line, Major Scarborough, he's playing fabulous football. Wesley Sneed got a great motor. Phoenix Phillips, Lucas Viertaler, got Delton Davis at one linebacker. Sadler View at another linebacking spot. Tucker Turner. Wyatt Garner is one of your defensive backs. Senior Boston Hagerman, Cole Zarbano, and Colton Amy, and that makes up your defense. There are your starters, Matt.
And support for tonight's Spoofhound broadcast comes from Northwest Cell, serving the region for over 30 years. Along with nationwide coverage, Northwest Cell offers a wide selection of features, including unlimited plans. For more details on plans and devices, nwmcell.com. We'll take a break. Back with your kickoff here on KXEV KRNW.
Support for today's broadcast comes from Northwest Cell, serving the region for over 30 years. Along with nationwide coverage, Northwest Cell offers a wide selection of features, including unlimited plans. For more on plans and devices, nwmcell.com. And from Maryville Shelter Insurance agent Brad Ford, a proud supporter of the Spoof Hounds. Brad provides coverage for auto, home, life, and business, 24 hours claims assistance, and insurance reviews. More at 562-2911 or at 102 North Buchanan. Also from the United States Air Force, offering more than 130 career choices, education, benefits, and more. Full and part-time opportunities are available now. For more information, Technical Sergeant Katrina Smith can be reached at 816-341-8227 or airforce.com. And from Northwest AV on East 3rd Street in Maryville. Northwest AV offers business and residential design and installation on projects including home theaters, vehicle remote starts, surveillance cameras, and more. Details at nw-av.com.
Support for Spoofhound Athletics comes from Millen Dinsdale Seed, serving farmers across the region for over a decade. Millen Dinsdale represents Golden Harvest Seed, Pivot Bio Proven 40, and Precision Planting. To learn more, millendinsdaleseed.com. And from the
Welcome back out to the Hound Pound homecoming here. Maryville taking on Cameron alongside Philip Poor, and I'm Matt Tritton. Thanks for joining us here on KXEV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe. A perfect night for high school football. As we're about set for the opening kick, Maryville's deep men standing at about the 30-yard line, expecting something short and potentially onside here from Cameron and their kicker, Alec Leesenby. Leesenby also doubles up as their quarterback. The right-footed kicker is ready. High end over end pooch kick, this one. A fair catch called for about the 35-yard line, taken there by Delton Davis. And good field position for Maryville to start this one off. And you alluded to it in the pregame, Philip, but boy, a record-setting performance last week against St. Pius.
Yeah, you want nobody other than Delton Davis to get his hands on that opening kick. That skied in the air. Nice kick. But Delton Davis, he's not the guy that you want to try to get a little bit confused early in the ball game. He's got sure hands, even in these kind of moist conditions here tonight. It's about 76 degrees, slight breeze, and again, that moisture has kind of dissipated, so hopefully a great night for football.
Shotgun starting off for Derek Quinlan. Back to pass, looking downfield, quick pass to the left side. It is caught, and this is going to be a gain of 8 yards. Check that, make that 9 on first down. And it looks like that one went to Don Allen right off the bat. So Derek Quinlan starting off 1 for 1, picks up 9 yards. And Don Allen, game-ending interception last week against St. Pius, catches the first pass of this one as well. Another pass goes quick left. This one a hitch route, also caught by Allen, fights forward, gets out across midfield, out near the 47-48-yard line.
Don Allen came on strong in that Chillicothe game, 125 receiving yards there. Big play at the end of the game to end the game last week against St. Pius, and coming out hot here tonight.
Gain of 8, 1st and 10 for Maryville. It's going to be a quick run for Derek Quillen to the right, cuts to the middle of the field, to the left hash, up the left hash. He is finally cut down by his ankles as he gets across the 25-yard line. They're going to spot him down to the 23. A gain of 25 on the first run of the night for Maryville.
Little dose of their own medicine that time. Cameron, a running football team. Derek had a little bit of wiggle on that play. Opened up the middle of the field. Linebacker's eyes went one way, and he went right down the middle.
Carried it like it looked like a speed option. Then he cut to the middle and wide open spaces. Back to pass again on 1st and 10 across the middle. Looking, he has Delton Davis between 2 defenders into the end zone. Touchdown, Maryville.
Just like that. Matt, 23 yards, is that what you got on that one?
23.
Just march down the field that time. Get Delton Davis another touchdown opportunity.
For Maryville. A 4-play drive. It was capped by a 23-yard pass to Delton Davis. Spoofhounds on top, 6-0, 59 seconds into the game. Wyatt Garner on for the PAT. Snap is low, handled by Walter. Kick on the way, and it is through the uprights. It is good. 7-0 Maryville, 59 seconds into this one. We'll step aside and be back with more on KXCV KRNW.
Underwritten by FCS Financial of Maryville. FCS is a customer-owned ag lender that's served Missouri for over a century with loans for farm equipment, livestock, beginning farmers, hunting land, rural homes, and more. For more information, 660-582-6464 or myfcsfinancial.com.
Support for today's game comes from Laclede Chain Manufacturing, a proud supporter of Maryville High School athletics. Employment opportunities at Laclede are available now. For more information or to view available positions, lacledechain.com.
Well, that was an awfully quick 4-play drive that put Maryville in the end zone, 7-0. Spoofhounds leading the Cameron Dragons.
Does not look like Maryville has any kind of lapse in intensity level, in sharpness from that week 4 win last week against St. Pius. Came out really how you'd want them to. If you're Coach Houchin, you dialed up the right 4 plays, get into the end zone quickly, and that might be an indication of what kind of night it's going to be here at the Hound Pound.
Noah Bellamy on for the kick now. First possession on the way for Cameron. End over end kick. It's going to be taken about the 17-yard line here by River Meadows. Meadows trying to go to the right side. Still on his feet. Gets out across the 25-yard line. Out near the 29 before he's cut down.
Brought down by number 23, Don Allen. Ball placed at the 29-yard line.
So we'll see Cameron come out for their first drive of the game. Once again, last week, a 26-20 loss in overtime to Chillicothe. A good battle there with the Hornets. Couldn't quite pull that one out. The prior week was a 49-8 loss to St. Pius. Under center goes Leesenby. They put a man in motion right to left. Handoff goes right up the middle, and a good gain right off the bat as that one goes into the hands of Hudson Loader. He'll pick up 11 on first down.
Hudson Loader last week, 13 carries, 115 yards. We talked about him a lot last year as a sophomore. This year as a junior, looks a little bit bigger, stronger, faster, and that's kind of Cameron's offense right there. They don't really want to take you offside tackle. They just want to run it right up the gut.
And as Coach Webb mentioned in pregame, it's a matter of going out there, controlling the clock, controlling the ball and the tempo, and keeping possession as long as they can, especially against a high-powered offense like Maryville. As Leesenby goes under center, Maryville jumps into the neutral zone, a 5-yard penalty on the way for Cameron.
Of course, you don't want to give Cameron any free yards that time, but makes a 1st and 10. You half that 1st and 5, and this is a team that wants to stay ahead of the sticks anyway.
Loader once again takes it right up the middle. It picks up 2 before he is cut down. Ball out now to the 48-yard line of the Dragons with a 2nd down and 3 on the way.
Lucas Vierteller made that tackle. The 6'2", 225-pound junior. We probably haven't talked about him enough this year. He's taken on a few more double teams, probably on his side of the football, because you got big old Phoenix Phillips on the other side, gobbling up a couple of dudes, freeing up Major Scarborough a little bit. But Lucas has been a rock.
Handoff once again goes to Loader. He's going to get out near the sticks. This ball just across midfield. And no signal just yet. It looks like this might be a third down and short. And they're going to say a third down and inches on the way as Loader picks up 2. Not quite enough to move the sticks. Chain gang sponsored this evening by Laclede Chain Manufacturing here in Maryville. They fake the handoff. Rolling out to his right is Leeson. He wants to keep it himself. Has the edge. Gets out across the 45-yard line. Ankle tackle by Major Scarborough, but enough to move the chains.
Nice little play that time. Shifty running by your quarterback. Did get outside, but there you could see that speed from Major Scarborough. He is a long, lengthy guy, but he also has some good speed out there, and he's been a disruptor over the last couple of weeks. Last week had a really nice game against St. Pius. Didn't quite get home multiple times, but he really made it tough on that quarterback from St. Pius last week, getting some touches on him.
This time, Leesenby giving this one off to his fullback up the right sideline. A gain of 10 on first down for Kenton Gates. And Gates getting enough to move the chains. So right after Cameron watches Maryville go down the field in 4 plays, didn't even take a minute off the clock. Now Cameron able to get something moving here on their first possession. Ball right now on the Maryville 35-yard line. A 1st and 10 on the way. 9:05 to play in the opening quarter. Dragons looking for their first conference win of the season. Maryville so far 2-0 in the MEC. Give up the middle goes to Loader. He has hit right at the line of scrimmage. Keeps the feet forward. And he's going to get just a little bit there on first down. Able to move forward for 3 yards.
The other thing Cameron does by picking up those first downs, yet to throw a pass, but yet to stop the clock. So they're in control of the clock as they can pick up some positive yardage, as they can pick up those first downs. That would be the game plan of second-year head coach Wes Ball.
Back under center once again is Loader. The man in motion left to right. They'll give it up the middle once again out to the 30-yard line. As once again it is Loader able to pick up 2 yards and a third down and 5 on the way. First possession of the ball game for Cameron. Loader already up to 5 carries. 5 of the 7 on this drive for the Dragons. 1 for Leesenby, 1 for Gates, and as Phillip mentioned, no passes so far in this opening drive for the Dragons. Under center once again is Leesenby. On third down, turns, give, up the middle, Gates hit right at the line of scrimmage, driven backward. Wesley Sneed getting in there as well as Colzar Bono. This will bring up a 4th down for the Dragons.
First contact coming from number 54, Gus McCullough. Gus had a fabulous game last week, big time hits, and in 2 games, he already has 25 total tackles. That was a big one there. He was first contact, allowed the rest of his teams to come in and clean it up.
Boy, Gus was making up for lost time last week, wasn't he? All over the field.
Last week's game, Chillicothe's game, he has been very impressive from that linebacking position.
Big moment right now for Cameron trying to keep this drive moving, facing a 4th down and 4. Running the option, the pitch goes out left side. They've got an edge. A flag does fall. Cameron has enough for the first down as this one taken up the left sideline. Peyton Garr finally shoved out of bounds.
Probably going to be a little shift where that flag was thrown and who threw that. I'm going to say this penalty is going to be against Cameron.
And Phillip Horn is right, so a 4th and 4 that they converted. Now backs them up into a 4th down and 9.
Kind of no man's land, Matt.
Would take a pretty big leg in high school football, but at this point you've driven pretty well. Do you want to punt the ball away to an explosive offense? It's in Maryville, I would think leave Alec Leesenby out there and you might see his arm for the first time.
Unless you got that kicker from MU. We talked about homecoming, originating with MU. Got, was it Mevis, right? Mevis, that 61-yard SEC record-kicking field goal attempt.
Cameron used to have a big leg in Brad Beckwith, who went to Missouri Western and made some big-time field goals for them. But keeping the offense back out on the field, 4th down and 9. Check that they are going to punt. They had Leesenby back deep, and he took that snap and does go ahead and punt it. Ball goes into the end zone. That's a touchback, and they're going to net just about 14 yards on that punt. So we'll see Maryville back out onto the field, up 7-0. 6:36 to play here in the first quarter.
Maryville with a long field in front of them. They're at the 20-yard line, but awaiting them in the south end zone is a whole host of Bearcats. Bearcats in the house tonight for this homecoming game. They were forming a tunnel for the Spoof Hounds this evening, and they got to kind of high-five their big brothers from across town, but they're in attendance here tonight. Great to have them here.
They're going to see Maryville come out with 5 wide receivers on this 1st and 10 from the Spoof Hound 20-yard line. Derek Quinlan back in shotgun by himself, putting Don Allen in motion left to right. Allen lines up behind Quinlan. They fake the give to Allen. They swing it out right side. The screen pass goes to Davis, trying to read his blockers. Gets a good block from Wyatt Garner. Nearly lost the football, but able to get up the field, and he'll pick up 10 yards. And that should be enough to move the sticks.
Looks like that time a little bit of an angle of the arm, trying to fool the defense, and I think he was going to give that ball in the belly of running back, but instead he quick hitter out there to Delton Davis.
2 catches, 33 yards, and 1 drive plus so far for Delton Davis. He goes in motion right to left. They get pitched to him in a little jet sweep going right to left. Gets out to the left side, cuts back across the field, all the way back across from the left, hashes back to the right, hashes. A flag falls, a big hit from Maryville. This one will be coming back as Davis able to get across the 40-yard line before he's tackled by Peyton Garr.
Got a lot of folks at home watching on the Spoof Hound Athletics YouTube page. None more exciting than that run. Delton Davis has given us some really, really nice pitch and catches, run after catch, picking up yardage. He's not afraid to try to shift his momentum from one side of the field to the other. And, boy, it looks like they're going to wave off that flag. My assumption would be that probably they were thinking about a hat downfield. Offensive lineman too far downfield possibly, but they wave off the flag, so another first down for the Hounds.
A pickup of 11 that time as Quinlan will pitch out to Davis. 1st and 10 for Maryville from their own 41-yard line. 2 plays, 21 yards. This drive continues. Back to pass again. Quinlan looking deep down the right sideline. Goes up top looking for Garner. Lays out just off his fingertips. The ball falls incomplete about the 22-yard line. So a 2nd and 10 on the way for the Hounds.
That pass really well thrown to the point where only Wyatt Garner could get his hands on it. Just a little bit too much. Put it out there where Wyatt gave a nice diving effort. Just couldn't come up with the grab.
First incompletion of the night for Derek Quinlan. Also the first play from scrimmage for Maryville that wasn't positive yards. 2nd down and 10. 5 wide receivers once again for the Hounds. 6:04 to play in the first quarter. Back to pass Quinlan. Rolling to his left. Looking down the field. Pointing deep. Throwing this one near the sideline. That one falls incomplete. That time looking for Colton Amy.
Colton Amy got gobbled up a little bit there that time by the turf. Couldn't quite get back up and make that play, but Lucas Viertaler, number 72, we talked about him a little bit earlier on the defensive side of the ball. Nice job there at left tackle, protecting Quinlan. Had a big block that time to give Quinlan just a little bit more time to step into that throw.
So a 3rd and 10 now on the way for Maryville. Tight end Cooper Gassler on the field, as well as running back Tucker Turner. Now a timeout here for Maryville's Cole Zarbano coming onto the field a little late. 5:58 to play here in the first quarter. We will step aside and be back with more Maryville High School football.
Support for the Spoof Hounds on radio comes from Mosaic Medical Center, Maryville, providing comprehensive care close to home. For more information or to schedule an appointment, 660-562-2525 or mymlc.com/Maryville.
Support for today's broadcast comes from Maryville Shelter Insurance Agent Brad Ford, a proud supporter of the Spoof Hounds. Brad provides coverage for auto, home, life, and business, 24-hour claims assistance, and insurance reviews. More at 562-2911 or in office at 102 North Buchanan.
5:58 left to play here in the first quarter. Maryville taking on Cameron, the homecoming game here for the Spoof Hounds. With Philip Horn, I'm Matt Tritton. Adam Teal here as our spotter for this evening's football game. Hounds 4-0 on the season and playing some good football, averaging 40 points per game. Off to a good start here, up 7-0, but facing a 3rd and 10 on their 2nd possession of the night. Pistol formation as Quinlan has Turner lined up behind him. 2 receivers split to each side. Back to pass is Quinlan. Quick fire goes out to Garner. couldn't hold on to that one right at midfield, and a 4th and 10 on the way for the Spoof Hounds.
Garner could sense that he had some green grass in front of him, turned his head just a little bit too soon, unable to make that catch across the middle.
Maryville's going to keep the offense on the field. They will split out Garner and Hageman wide to the left side. Looks like Davis and Allen, I believe, to the right. Turner behind Quinlan. Back to pass once again. It is Quinlan, and that pass goes a little high for Davis. Couldn't pull it in, and that'll be a turnover on downs for Maryville.
Quinlan, after going 5 for 5 with a touchdown, is now 5 for 9, misfired on his last 4 passes, and sets Cameron up into some pretty good field position. But you got to think, with that offense, you trust them to pick up 10 yards when you need to, but you also have to have some confidence there in your defense too, that you can hold them even with some good field position.
And we'll see what they do here with Cameron taking over at the Maryville 41-yard line. Dragons picked up a few first downs before their drive fizzled last possession, and they ended up punting it away. 5:49 to play in the opening quarter. The handoff up the middle. This one goes to Loader. Picks up about 3 yards before he is bottled up and shoved backwards. Check that handoff actually going up the middle to Gates Jones. First handoff tonight for Jones. So a 2nd down and 7 on the way for the Cameron Dragons. Cameron started off the season a 20-0 win at Lincoln College Prep. They hosted Southeast Kansas City. They won that one 55-14. Then ran into a very good St. Pius team. It was close throughout the first half, but ended up losing 49-8. Then last week, a 26-20 loss in overtime to Chillicothe. Handoff up the middle once again to Jones. He has stacked up Phoenix Phillips, Wesley Sneed. A lot of green jerseys getting in there to shove him back after an initial pickup of 2 for Jones.
Talking about Cameron, last year, 4-6 record overall in Coach Westball's first season. And as Coach Webb said, this is a team that's going to come at you. They're going to play tough. They're going to give it to you for 4 quarters if they can. And already, you just see these guys, they're grinding. Feet never stop. That time it took about 5 or 6 pounds bring down the ball carrier. So you can see that he's probably chipping away a little bit at that culture. They're going to be a better team.
Play clock down to 3 seconds. Cameron just now getting lined up. They're going to have to burn a timeout. And they will. 4:17 to play in the opening quarter. Cameron uses its first timeout. Maryville in front 7-0. A 3rd and 5 on the way. We will take a break and be back with more here on KXCV, KRNW.
Support for Spoofhound football comes from Millen Dinsdale Seed, serving farmers across the region for over a decade. Millen Dinsdale represents Golden Harvest Seed, Pivot Bio Proven 40, and Precision Planting. To learn more, millendinsdaleseed.com.
Today's game is brought to you by local internet provider United Fiber, providing a variety of fiber-fast internet plans for residents and businesses with speeds up to 1 gig. More information is available online at unitedfiber.com.
It's a 7-0 Maryville lead. Cameron facing a 3rd down and 5 from the Spoofhound 36-yard line. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Laclede Chain Manufacturing on East 1st Street in Maryville. Laclede is a family-owned company producing various chains for hardware, industrial, snow chains, and more. Additional information is available at lacledechain.com. Well, Philip, a beautiful night tonight, but Northwest Missouri State football adjusting the schedule just a bit for tomorrow. That 1:30 kickoff, now a noon kickoff, just to make sure they avoid some thunderstorms that could be in the area tomorrow afternoon.
And that's a home game versus Lincoln. What's Lincoln like this year? What's the record looking like?
0-3, very athletic. Still searching for that first win, though. 3rd and 5 on the way for the Dragons. Leesenby fakes the give up the middle. Pitch goes out left side. Able to break through one tackle, fights forward across the 30-yard line. That will be enough for a first down.
Well done to pick up that first down. That pitch came at the right moment. Your quarterback has to be willing to take a big hit after pitching that ball off, and did that time. Leesenby's a tough guy, but you don't want to see him take too many of those hits.
And he got the ball free, and at the right time, Peyton Garr able to pick up 7 yards. That will move the sticks. And a 1st and 10 on the way from the Maryville 29-yard line. Down to 10 seconds on the play clock as the play just now getting to the Cameron huddle. They get on the ball with 5 seconds on the play clock. Leesby under center. Gets the snap away. He'll give this one around the right side. Maryville has that one snuffed out. Nothing doing that time as Talon Edens pushed backwards for a big loss.
Great pursuit by the defense that time, led by the tackle of Lucas Viertaler. We've talked a lot about Lucas here this evening, and already here in the first quarter on both sides of that football, he's playing with a bit of passion here for the homecoming crowd.
Viertaler comes up with a tackle for loss. That is number 4 on the season for Viertaler, and that backs up Cameron into a 2nd down and 15. And again, we've seen this with Chillicothe, a little bit with Harrisonville. It's a team that runs the ball a lot and can't afford to get behind the sticks and get off schedule. As facing a 2nd down and 15. Leesby under center. Turns. Fakes the give up the middle, trying to go to his left with that speed option. Gets away from Viertaler, but then Phoenix Phillips right there to clean things up. It looked like some confusion in the backfield right off the bat for Cameron.
Phoenix Phillips, a 6'3", 285-pound sophomore. He's just a lot to deal with, and he's been that way all season long. Really that kind of rookie game, if you will, versus Blair Oaks probably has just grown in leaps and bounds each weekend since that. I think last weekend was a big one for him against St. Pius. I think it was a confidence builder for him, and he's just gotten a little bit nastier each game. And as we go through the season, ceiling's really the limit for this guy.
That was a loss of 4, so a 3rd down and 18 on the way as the ball now backed up to the 38-yard line of Maryville. The pitch goes out wide right, nothing doing as Major Scarborough tracks it down for the tackle for loss. Kenton Gates couldn't find the opening.
You've got to think Coach Webb loves the fact that so far tonight we are not calling Zarbano or Davis, none of those guys in the secondary. Allen, Amy, it's all the guys up front, the big eaters. The defensive line's doing their job here early in this football game.
And they have done it very well as a 4th and 21 on the way right now for Cameron. Leesby punts this one away. Spiraling kick toward the right sideline, bounces into the end zone, a touchback, and we'll see the Maryville offense come back out onto the field. 1:54 to play in the opening quarter. Spoofhounds moved the football well. The first 2 plays of that last possession picked up 21 yards in 2 plays, and then 4 incomplete passes gave the ball away to Cameron on their own 41-yard line. Boston Hagan splits out wide to the right side by himself. Out of the shotgun is Derek Quinlan. He has Delton Davis to his left, Tucker Turner to his right, and Cole Zarbano split out by himself on the left. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for the Hounds. 3rd possession of the game. They'll give this one to Davis, trying to sweep out to the right side. He gets across the 20-yard line and shoved out of bounds after a pickup of just 3. Hot pursuit that time from Kenton Gates of Cameron.
Gates was all over that play. That's a play that we probably first saw maybe in the Jamboree. Saw a little bit of Delton Davis coming out of the backfield and trying to get him out to the edge. That time Gates, he sniffed that one out, and he put a little bit of a hit there on Delton Davis.
Make that a gain of 4. 2nd down and 6 on the way from Maryville as Quinlan rolling to his left, looking, dumps this one off. Cooper Gassler comes up with the catch, cuts back toward the middle of the field, breaks through 1 tackle, and then finally cut down as he gets out across the 35-yard line. He is spotted down at the 37.
Good run that time by Cooper Gassler after securing that catch. Kind of turn back up toward the middle, pick up some extra yards, and get those sticks moving.
13 yards, that moves the sticks. It picks up a 1st down for Maryville with a minute left to play in the first quarter. Now whistles blow before Maryville can get this ball snapped. Now they reset the play clock and they wind the clock, and we are inside a minute left to go in the opening frame. From the 37-yard line, Quinlan looking to his right, avoiding the rush, pointing downfield, gets outside the pocket, throws this one underneath. Delton Davis has this one batted away. Nice play by Leesby coming down from his safety spot. Nearly got 2 hands on that one.
Quinlan on that play moving well to his right, but had to feel that pressure just a little bit coming behind him with Cameron breathing down his neck, dragon breath, if you will, breathing down his neck, Matt.
Good.
That's your first one of the night. Just about squeezed that one into Delton Davis.
2nd and 10 now for the Hounds in front 7-0 late in this first quarter. Quinlan give up the middle. And Tucker Turner is hit and dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Play clock just about a 1.5 seconds ahead of the game clock, so Maryville will have to snap it one more time in this first quarter, facing a 3rd down and 10 from their own 37-yard line. 2 receivers stacked to each side, Turner lining up behind Quinlan. Derek to throw on 3rd and 10, looking to his right, wanted to go deep. Delton Davis streaking down that right sideline, brought in at the 25, and he goes out of bounds. That is plenty to move the Laclede chains. Maryville back in business.
Matt, that is a heck of a throw from the left hash, putting it on the money all the way at the 20. Delton didn't have a lot of space after the catch, but that's a big-time throw from Derek Quinlan.
38 yards to Davis on 3rd down and 10. 7 seconds now left in the first quarter. They fake the give, throw out left side to Don Allen. Allen breaks through one tackle, streaks up the left hash. He is hit and goes down as a flag falls. He is down inside the 10-yard line. That is enough for a first down if the play stands.
I think this one might come back. So we learned this last week from our spotter, Adam Teal. Picked up the first down, spot foul. They'll take it back, but it should still be first down.
We'll get you all caught up on everything as we take a break. First quarter comes to an end. 7-0 Maryville. The Spoof Hounds driving once again. You're listening to Maryville football on KXCV, KRNW.
Support for Spoof Hound football comes from Midwest Data Center, specializing in IT and cybersecurity services, including advanced threat monitoring, intrusion prevention, and zero trust solutions. Midwest Data Center, located just off the square in Maryville and online at mwdata.net. Support for today's game comes from Compass Dental Group, providing full dentistry from braces and implants to same-day crowns and more from Doctors Bruce Twaddle, Brian Viertaler, and Spencer Twaddle. Compass Dental Group proudly supports Spoof Hound athletics. For more information, compassdentalgroup.com. Support for KXCV KRNW comes from local Edward Jones Financial Advisors, offering retirement and investment advice to help customers reach financial goals. Jeanette Patchett, J.R. Kurz, Jeff Von Barron, Chad Hannigan, and Scott Nielsen of Edward Jones Maryville are proud supporters of the Spoof Hounds.
Support for today's game comes from Heinlein Home Furnishings on South Main in Maryville. Locally owned and operated, Heinlein has been in business for more than 60 years, offering mattresses and furniture from Ashley, Lazy Boy, England, Serta, and more. More information at HeinleinHomeFurnishings.com.
Maryville set to open this second quarter, facing a first down and 12 from the Cameron 25-yard line. Handoff goes to Tucker Turner, looking to sweep out to the right side. He is hit and shoved backwards. This will be a loss of about 3 on 1st and 12. Second and long on the way for Maryville. In front 7-0, facing Cameron for homecoming. They give the handoff, going around to the left side to Delton Davis. Davis lowers his shoulder, takes on a defender. A flag falls. He's got about 4 or 5 yards, depending on what this flag is.
Another flag on our side of the field. I'm going to call this a hold, probably on one of your outside receivers.
Well, they had the ball. It is a holding coming up on Maryville. Inside the 15, right around the 10, with the last catch by Don Allen. That one was called back from the spot of the foul. Now we'll see another holding coming up on Maryville. So this will back them up now to the Cameron 39-yard line.
That's just a tough one. When you're playing that out position and you're up against a cornerback and you know the run's coming your direction, really hard to gamble on just getting a little too much jersey. That time Maryville does, and boy, they're backed up a country mile now.
2nd and 27 from the Cameron 39. Davis in motion left to right. Quillen to pass. Rush comes through. It's a screen. They dump it off to Turner. Turner has some blockers in front. Gets past one man. Up the left hash. Gets through one more. He is cut down just inside the 10-yard line. He had some big bodies in front of him. And a first down on the way now for Maryville. The center, Owen Wonderly, as well as Phoenix Phillips. Those guys getting downfield, getting some big blocks. And Maryville now down to the 10-yard line.
When you've got a free rush coming in off that defensive line, well, you got to swivel that head quick because you got to know screens coming. What a perfectly executed play that time by Maryville's offense.
Handoff up the middle, fighting forward near the 5-yard line. Now the ball comes free. Cameron's saying they have it. And no signal. Now we're going to see the white hat saying this is Cameron football. The ball jarred loose. It was recovered by Cameron. And as Maryville going in for their second score of the night, the Dragons able to flip the switch and come away with a big turnover.
After a 29-yard screen play, perfectly executed. Haven't seen that a lot this year out of Coach Offensive Coordinator Matt Houchin. Dialed one up at the perfect time. Momentum looked like it was really pushing us that direction. And Matt, as we talked about pregame, in that Chillicothe game, Chillicothe could have seized the moment. We were sitting at 6-0 for a long time. This is where Cameron, they're backed up in the shadows of their own end zone. But, boy, if they put a drive here, that could be a game changer here for these Dragons.
From their own 8-yard line. Handoff goes up the middle. And this one is going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Wesley Sneed, Phoenix Phillips, they are quick off that ball there at the defensive tackle position. They were in on that play really quickly.
Hudson Loader got back to the line of scrimmage and nothing else. Second down and 10 from the 8-yard line on the way. Loader started the game off 11 yards on his first carry. Since that point, he has 9 yards over his last 5 carries. As the play clock down to 5 seconds as Cameron breaks the huddle. Leesenby quickly under center down to 2 seconds. Gets the snap away. Fakes the handoff up the middle, pitches to the outside. Don Allen able to wrangle his man right at the 10-yard line. This will be a gain of 2 on the way.
Some people are willing to sacrifice their body, and then there's Don Allen. Just throw everything I got at you and see what happens. That was a collision right there. You know, we talked about Cameron. They're backed up into their own shadow of their end zone. Tonight, we've got the dog pound out there in the north end zone. I know they're making some noise. They're having some Bernie's Pizza out there. Oh, Kevin Pitty leading the charge. Those guys are going to get fired up. Cameron's going to have some problems. They're going to deal with some extra noise from the dog pound out there in the north end zone.
Well, they did their job, and Don Allen did his job. Talon Edens picked up just 3 that last carry. Now the pitch goes outside left once again, trying to get to that edge, able to get there first down and then some as Major Scarborough able to take Kitten Gates out of bounds. That will be enough to move the sticks on a 3rd down and 7.
That time the key block came on the outside. Earlier in the game, we had a nice play rolling, but we were holding on that wideout versus corner. That time, Cameron, good block out there by their wideout to spring that area, that left side, wide open for them, and a big pickup, big first down for Cameron.
15 yards on 3rd down and 7. Little breathing room now as Cameron's out to their own 26-yard line. Started this drive at their own 8. Handoff again, going left side of the offense and out to the 35-yard line. That's going to be a pickup of 9 yards. As this time the ball going to Kitten Gates.
West Bell dialing up some plays right now. They're picking up chunk yards. They're staying on schedule, as you mentioned, putting themselves in position to be successful. Cameron so far, if I got my stats right, not one pass through the air. It's all been on the ground.
Eating up some clock here in this second quarter. Another handoff. Just needing 1 yard for a first down. They're going to get that. As that time the ball carrier able to submarine forward, it's Talon Edens. He picks up a couple. So a first down on the way as the clock continues to move. 8:40 to play in this second quarter. Used to seeing Maryville high flying, ball going through the air, a lot of big plays, but Cameron just eating away at that clock and trying to take this crowd out of it as well.
Yeah, the crowd doing a lot of sitting here tonight. Big crowd here tonight. We mentioned that we got the Bearcats on the south end zone. They're ready for some excitement.
Handoff going up the middle. Leesenby decided to keep that one himself. Like I say, the ball popped free. Leesenby diving forward after the flag also fell. That looked like illegal motion.
Like Cameron's going to recover that ball, but they are going to be penalized coming up here in just a moment.
So they might have picked up one off that fumble recovery, but the penalty will move them back 5. Illegal motion, second penalty of the night on the Dragons. So 1st and 15 on the way. Ball back to the 32-yard line of Cameron. Four down linemen for Maryville defensively. Phillips, Sneed, Nielsen, and Scarborough. Leesenby under center. Takes the give. Pitches out left side. Trying to find that edge. Nothing doing once again. As Maryville able to come up and make that play. Defensive back there, as well as Scarborough tracking it down from the backside.
Great pursuit that time. Getting to see a little bit of extra help from Hageman getting into the play. Again, we have not talked a lot about our secondary. They've not been called upon to make too many plays. Their job is to keep this offense in front of them and let the big guys on the defensive line do the rest. And so far tonight, that's how the game's gone.
2nd and 14, they pitch it outside once again. And falling forward, Wyatt Garner able to make that tackle, but still forcing a 3rd down and about 7 or 8 on the way for Cameron.
Really liking that left side. Quarterback's done a good job of getting that pitch out there. That's probably his comfort level side. Got some speed this year, maybe a little bit more speed, playing a little more confidently, but big 3rd down here for the Dragons.
We get a 3rd down and 7 as we're coming up on 7 minutes to play in this second quarter. Dragons keeping things close as they search for their first MEC win. Another handoff going up the middle. And this one's going to be out near the 1st down marker. They give that one to Gates up the middle. He's going to be about a yard short.
Good push that time by the offensive line from Cameron. Using a little tempo, get up to that ball quickly. Trying not to substitute and give Maryville an opportunity to do the same, but it looks like maybe timeout. Let's see who called that. Oh, guess the refs did. Officials called timeout.
Let's see if they want to get a measurement here as that 3rd down run got awfully close. And kind of hard to see from our angle. Looks like maybe they're just a hair short, but it's awfully close. But a chance for Maryville now with a potential 4th and 1 on the way. Catch their breath, get themselves ready for a potential big-time stop. As they stretch out the chains, and boy, the nose of the football just got right there.
Not by much. That time, Cameron, a great hard run, nice spot, enough to give them another 1st down and keep that clock running.
And able to overcome a penalty as well, going from a 1st down and 15, able to pick up that 15 yards just enough in 3 plays.
And that's not been the story of the night for Cameron. When they have been behind the sticks, it's been hard for them to overcome some of those self-inflicted wounds. That time, really, they're just using that offensive line, pushing their way through, trying to play some bully ball.
Leesenby under center once again. And this time he gets bottled up. They gave it off to Loader at the last moment, and Viertaler, Phillips, a couple of the green jerseys, able to step in there and get the stop. This will be a gain of nothing.
Consistently tonight, that play has not worked. Might try to keep that play in the playbook just to keep you honest, but boy, Maryville has really done a great job of reading that handoff up the middle and stopping it each and every time.
Last week, Loader, 13 carries, 115 yards. So far tonight, he's only right around 20 on 7 carries. His last 2 have been stopped at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10 now for the Dragons. As this one going around the left end, some room to run. Now finally a tackle made by Sadler View, but not before a 1st down on the way as Peyton Garr able to take that one around the left side.
Sadler View, the 5'10", 200-pound sophomore. He has put himself together a really nice season. And Sadler's been that middle linebacking spot all year long. 37 total tackles. He's kind of been a stalwart there. That time a big one, because had Sadler not made that tackle, we might be talking about an end zone run.
Last week against Chillicothe, Leesenby threw only 4 passes. Are they getting to the point they think they have Maryville lulled to sleep that they might throw one?
Well, you got to think that's what's in Coach Bell's head right now, is that we are going to keep causing you to play up at the line of scrimmage, stack the box just a little bit, and then we're going to sneak one over the top.
Not on this play, though, as Loader takes it up the middle and picks up just 2. A 2nd down and 8 on the way. Inside 5 minutes to play in the opening half. Just 7-0 Maryville Spoofhounds. Scored within the first minute of the football game. A 4-play drive. But they've been held scoreless since, and Cameron slowly working their way down the field. This drive started at their own 8-yard line. 2nd down and 7. Handoff between the tackles once again. This will be a decent gain there on 2nd down for Kenton Gates.
Just a methodical drive, assisted by some tough running. And Cameron is looking across the line of scrimmage, go, you know, Maryville, you've owned us, you've had us, but we didn't come up here to just lay over and let you get a homecoming win. They're running hard. They're meeting each other at the line of scrimmage and trying to see who can put the pop on the other.
So a 3rd down and 4 on the way. That last play, a 4-yard gain for Kenton Gates. From the Maryville 36-yard line. Back to pass, it's Leesenby. He goes left, now he rolls back to his right. He's tripped up, tries to dive forward back to the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose 1.
Man, it just doesn't take much when your offense is predicated on 3 yards in a cloud of dust. One negative play can have a big impact and stuff out a drive. But they've shown before that from this field position, maybe roll the dice just a little bit, just 3 minutes left in the half. They've punted more than not, but might feel a little bit confident in their chances to pick up a 1st down on a 4th and 5. Just cannot pick up a penalty or do anything again on those self-inflicted wounds.
Down to 2 seconds on the play clock, and now a quick timeout for West Bell with 3:01 left to play in this first half. 7-0 is the score in favor of Maryville. We'll step aside and be back with more here on KXCV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe.
Today's game's underwritten by the Northwest Missouri Regional Council of Governments, coordinating the Affordable Connectivity Program to help those struggling to afford internet service at home. Joy can help at 660-582-5121, extension 1. Marketing assistance from the FCC.
Support for the Spoofhounds on radio comes from Nottoway Valley Bank. NVB has been serving generations of Northwest Missouri families for more than 150 years. More information is on location or at nvb.com. Member FDIC.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Hy-Vee, a proud supporter of the Maryville R2 School District. Hy-Vee offers catering for game day or any special occasion, grocery delivery service, pharmacy with drive-through, a full-service floral shop, and more. For more information, Hy-Vee.com or 1217 South Main in Maryville.
Support for KXCV KRNW comes from the Northwest Technical School, offering a variety of adult education courses this fall, ranging from dance like salsa and the Western two-step to arts and crafts such as rug braiding, painting, and t-shirt quilting. The full fall catalog of courses can be found online at kxcv.org or nts.maryville.k12.mo.us.
Leesenby the pitch to the outside, able to shed one defender near the 1st down marker. That hit carried by Gates, and we're going to see where they spot this football.
It's going to be a tough spot right there. We're going to see who's heartbroken.
Oh, they're going to signal they got just enough.
Give it to him. Jeepers.
What a tough run by Gates.
Tough run. Gutsy play call that time by Coach Bell.
They had a 3rd down carry that they came out and measured. The ball was just the nose of the football got there. Then this carry on a 4th down and 4 just barely got to the marker at the 31.5-yard line. And so a 1st and 10 with 2:40 left to play in the first half. Under center is Leesenby. Loader and 3-point stance behind him. They'll give to Loader up the middle. He gets hit, wrapped up around the shoulders. He's going to fall forward and pick up about 2. I think at this point, West Bell would be okay with running out the next 2 minutes and 12 seconds and having Cameron in this half with the football. Obviously, they want to punch it in, but they don't want to give Maryville another chance because, as we've seen, the Spoofhounds can score in a hurry.
Spoofhounds can score in a rapid-fire response. Meanwhile, Cameron and their 12-minute offense here just milking the clock, churning out first downs, keeping the ball out of Quinlan's hands.
Snap it with 1 second left on the play clock, falling forward this time as Talon Edens is going to get just a little bit to bring up a 3rd down and medium.
Cameron's been running that play clock down to about 1 each time. Got a little bit of trouble with that a couple of times. Burned their timeouts early, so with 1:25 left, now you just have 1 timeout left in your back pocket. No other way to stop the clock because you don't think they're probably going to sneak out a pass here. If you just keep running the football, you're running out of time.
Down to 8 on the play clock as they get under center as Lazenby. 1:10 left to play in the half. Handoff goes up the middle to Loader as a flag falls. He is still fighting through tackles. Finally wrapped up and pushed backward as he picks up 3 on 3rd down and about 4.
Probably another formation penalty coming up here. Illegal shift based on where that flag came from. And again, it's going to back Cameron up, put them in a place they do not want to be.
Well, they overcame that once already on this drive at a 1st down and 15. It will pick up that 15 in 3 plays. But now a little more pressure as they'll be facing a 3rd and long.
And again, as you mentioned a bit ago, if you're a secondary player here for the Spoofhounds, if you're one of the safeties or cornerbacks, got to keep these guys in front of you because just because they have gone ground game all night long doesn't mean they won't try and sneak one over you.
3rd and 9, 55 seconds and counting left to play in the first half. Lazenby under center. Turns the give, going off right tackle, fighting through arm tackles and nearly breaking loose. Boston Hageman able to finally wrap him up and shove him backward. The ball carrier that time, it was Kenton Gates, and he was fighting for everything he had. And he picked up a 1st down and nearly broke that one for a big gainer.
And now, Matt, what are you going to do with 43 seconds left, just 1 timeout? Going to stay with the run game?
Oh, they are 100% staying with the run game.
Try to get the ball through the air. You're really backed up against the clock now. Again, it's running 35 seconds. And you've been taking plenty of time to get these plays in across the field. Time is not your friend.
Absolutely milking the clock. They snap it with 25 seconds left in the half. Up the middle once again, Loader carrying the load inside the 15-yard line. As Cameron now is going to want to call a timeout after an 8-yard gain of 2nd down and 2 on the way with 18 seconds left in the half. We'll take a break and be back in 30 seconds here on KXCV KRNW.
Support for KXCV KRNW comes from the Maryville Forum, serving the region for more than 150 years. The Forum provides local news, sports, and information online daily at maryvilleforum.com. More at 660-562-2424.
Support for today's game comes from Northwest Missouri Regional Credit Union, serving the area since 1933, offering loans, savings, and checking accounts, credit cards, share certificates, and online banking. They're located at the intersection of Highway 71 and East South Avenue. Today, tomorrow, together.
18 seconds left to play here in the first half. Alongside Philip Horn, I'm Matt Trenton. Maryville in front 7-0. The Spoofhounds have virtually led the entire 2 quarters to this point. But boy, Cameron has eaten up a lot of clock in this 2nd quarter, and they have themselves on the doorstep. A 2nd down and 3 on the way from the Spoofhound 14.
Points win you the ball game, but if your game plan is to keep the ball out of the hands of Derek Quinlan, this high-flying offense of Maryville, you're winning right now because they have just chewed up that clock, and 1 handful of jersey by Boston Hageman saved this from being a 7-7 game.
Cameron also gets the ball to start the 2nd half. 18 seconds left in the first half. Leesenby to go under center. Takes a glance over at the sideline. Now steps up to his center. Loader lined up behind him in a three-point stance. Leesenby takes the snap, fakes the pitch, now goes to hand it off, and that one is eaten up in the backfield. Major Scarborough, the huge tackle for loss, as that one handed off to River Meadows with nowhere left to run. And 5 seconds left in the ball. They have to get on the ball. No timeouts. Down to 3 seconds. Cameron quickly spikes this one on third down. This will bring up a fourth down and about 9. But what a play by Major Scarborough.
Major Scarborough absolutely blew that play up. Put Cameron in a really tight spot. They had just burned their last time out. No way to stop the clock. They clock it with 1 second left.
That was the first pass attempt of the night?
First pass attempt of the night for those guys, and they got 14 yards to go. Could be a big chunk play on the ground.
I will say Cameron getting back on the ball in time despite that. Oh, but illegal procedure because they... So they're going to back themselves up 5 yards after facing about a fourth down and 9. Now we'll make it a 4th and 14, although our yard marker still has a third. They wind the clock after the penalty. Clock runs out, 7-0. Boy, Cameron did everything but score on that final drive of the first half. They started at their own 8-yard line. They got down inside the 15, but they couldn't punch it in Maryville. They held. They did what they had to do.
Defense did their job. You're going to look at this score across the state of Missouri, and you're going to see a halftime score of Maryville 7, Cameron 0. And some people are going to scratch their heads and say, what's going on up there in Northwest Missouri tonight?
The game plan for Cameron worked on that final drive of the half, other than putting up points. 7-0 Maryville as we reach halftime. We will take a timeout and be back with your halftime stats here on KXCV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Pitsenberger Auto Body in Maryville, providing auto collision repair and taking the dents out of accidents. Pitsenberger's also installs ultimate truck bed liners. More at 660-582-4599 or facebook.com/Pitts Body Shop.
Support for today's game comes from Nucor LMP on East 1st in Maryville, specializing in cold finish steel products while emphasizing safety for its employees. Nucor is a proud supporter of Spoofhound Athletics. For more information, 660-582-3127. Support for KXCV KRNW comes from local Edward Jones Financial Advisors, offering retirement and investment advice to help customers reach financial goals. Jeanette Patchett, J.R. Kurz, Jeff Von Barron, Chad Hannigan, and Scott Nielsen of Edward Jones Maryville are proud supporters of the Spoofhounds.
Today's game is brought to you by local internet provider United Fiber, providing a variety of fiber-fast internet plans for residents and businesses with speeds up to 1 gig. More information is available online at unitedfiber.com.
Support for Spoofhound football comes from Midwest Data Center, specializing in IT and cybersecurity services, including advanced threat monitoring, intrusion prevention, and zero trust solutions. Midwest Data Center, located just off the square in Maryville, and online at mwdata.net.
Support for KXCV KRNW comes from Nottoway Valley Bank, celebrating more than 150 years of service to Northwest Missouri. More information on location or at nvb.com. Member FDIC.
Welcome back out to the Hounds Pound halftime. Maryville football taking on the Cameron Dragons. The Spoofhounds trying to improve on their 3-1 overall record and 2-0 conference record. With Philip Horn, I'm Matt Tritton, and boy, Philip, that was an interesting first half because it felt like Maryville was this close to blowing it open. And credit Cameron for sticking around.
Cameron, absolutely. Credit to those guys for sticking around. Their game plan is keep the ball away from Maryville's offense, and they're doing just that. That last drive started at the 8-yard line, and they just methodically pushed the ball down the clock or down the field, run out of time on the clock. Had to use a couple of timeouts in order to evade penalties based off of the play clock. They take a lot of time to get that play called from the sideline into the huddle. But regardless, Maryville walks into the halftime at a 7-0 lead. And you know that last week was just such a big game for them, and they're coming off of that high a little bit. And you hear about trap games. Typically, Cameron has not proven to be such, but here we are, 7-0. Got some stats to share with the listeners here tonight. So far, Derek Quinlan through the air, 153 yards, a touchdown to his credit. That touchdown to number 23, Don Allen. That touchdown at number 11, Delton Davis, another one in the stats for Delton. He's having a record-breaking type of season. Just 11 yards rushing, and I think that's probably the area that will get most addressed at half. Is your pass block has been there all night long. Derek's put the ball into the air 14 times, and he's got 9 completions against those 14 passes, again for 153 yards. But your run protect, your run block, got to get just a little bit better for these Hounds as they want to return the favor and have opportunities for some long drives. That first drive, just 59 seconds in the game. 49 seconds in that first drive. So Maryville quick strike. Cameron trying to push back, eat up the clock. Did a really nice job in that second quarter of doing just that. Matt, I think you've got some stats over there ready for the Cameron Dragons.
Yeah, so far for Cameron, it has been everything on the ground. Of course, their one pass attempt was just trying to clock the ball there at the end of the first half. Being led right now by Hudson Loader. Loader with 32 yards on 10 carries, not averaging nearly what he did last week against Chillicothe when he went for 115 yards on 13 carries. Didn't have a touchdown in that football game, but still was very effective tonight. Picked up 11 yards on his first carry of the football game. Just not a lot doing after that. Whole lot of 2s and 3s for Hudson Loader otherwise. Kenton Gates, he has 8 carries for 40 yards so far on the evening. Peyton Guard, 2 carries, 19 yards. River Meadows with 4 carries for 18 yards. Gage Jones, 2 carries, 5 yards. Also, Talon Eden so far in the football game. He has 4 carries, just 3 yards. And Alec Leesenby, 3 carries for -1. Of course, for the quarterback in Leesenby, that's kind of a tough spot to be in, to where he's doing a lot of things right as far as trying to make that right read. So hard to judge him based on that number right there of being at -1 yards, but 116 total yards all on the ground for Cameron in that first half. And I'd expect they get the ball to start the second half. We'll see a lot of the same for the Dragons.
Yeah, 1 turnover there for Maryville. Very costly for them, giving the ball back to Cameron. And as we talked, say it again, Cameron is in this ball game, and going into the halftime break, you know they're feeling pretty good about where they stand, especially the fact that they get the ball to start the second half. So we'll see what kind of adjustments are made. We'll see how the coaches kind of get these players rocking and rolling for the second half. This is a quick strike Maryville offense, so you know that they can put points on you in a hurry. So if you're Cameron, philosophy doesn't change a whole lot. Grind it out. Keep control of that clock. Time of possession is key. And they have just had a couple instances where they were really close to getting to pay dirt. See what happens here in the second half.
7-0 Maryville at this point. It's homecoming week here in Spoofhound Country. We'll take a break. When we come back, our KXCV KRNW news director sat down with the principal here at the high school in Maryville. That is Tom Alvarez. That interview on the way right here on KXCV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe.
Support for today's game is brought to you by MTE Office Center. With locations in Maryville and Cameron, MTE provides laptops, computers, networking, printing, furniture, and office supplies. More information at mteoffice.com or on Facebook. MTE Office Center, powering business. Also from the United States Air Force, offering more than 130 career choices, education, benefits, and more. Full and part-time opportunities are available now. For more information, Technical Sergeant Katrina Smith can be reached at 816-341-8227 or airforce.com. And Twaddle Realty in Maryville. Broker Brian Twaddles provided real estate services for residential, farm, and commercial properties to the area for more than 25 years. More information available at 562-7562 or twaddlerealty.com. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Pitzenberger Auto Body in Maryville, providing auto collision repair and taking the dents out of accidents. Pitzenberger's also installs ultimate truck bed liners. More at 660-582-4599 or facebook.com/Pitts Body Shop.
Support for today's broadcast comes from Maryville Shelter Insurance Agent Brad Ford, a proud sponsor of the Spoof Hounds. Brad provides coverage for auto, home, life, and business, 24 hours claims assistance, and insurance reviews. More at 562-2911 or in office at 102 North Buchanan. And from Nottoway Valley Bank, celebrating more than 150 years of service to Northwest Missouri. More information on location or at nvb.com, member FDIC. Also from the Maryville Forum, serving the region for more than 150 years, the Forum provides local news, sports, and information online daily at maryvilleforum.com. More at 660-562-2424. And Northwest Cell, serving the region for over 30 years. Along with nationwide coverage, Northwest Cell offers a wide selection of features, including unlimited plans. For more details on plans and devices, visit nwmcell.com.
You're tuned into the voice of the Maryville Spoof Hounds, KXCV, KRNW.
Welcome into Spoof Hound Halftime here on KXCV, KRNW. I'm News Director Jeremy Werner at the station, and joining me during halftime is high school principal Tom Alvarez. Tom, thanks for joining me. The first question I have is, about homecoming. This is the first year that there was a parade. So, what kind of led to that?
Well, we had a student group. Our student council came to us and asked if they could do a parade. A lot of their friends in the smaller communities around here have always done parades, and Maryville's never had one in the 23 years that I've been here. And so they asked if they could do it, and they wanted to keep it small and just be about the high school. And so we said, we're willing to try things if the kids take the initiative. So we went ahead and started to plan the parade. It's gotten much bigger than just us at the high school since we've announced that we were doing it.
And so how did you guys settle on MUN?
Well, like I said, initially we thought we would just do a small, just the high school kids would come out and watch the parade. We'd initially thought about maybe starting at the middle school and driving through their parking lot, coming down V and then turning on MUN and coming up. But V being a state highway, it was a little more difficult to have that be part of the parade. So now we just said we're going to start down at the end of MUN, come down MUN Street, and then turn up, and then it'll end at our stadium, in which case then we will follow it up by a pep assembly in the stadium.
Okay. And so game wraps up. What's left for homecoming weekend?
Well, then we have the dance on Saturday from 8 to 11, and I think, that's the culminating event for homecoming, and the kids have been very excited about it. And obviously we had the king and queen coronated earlier before the game, and so that continues the excitement, and then we move into the game on Saturday, or the dance on Saturday.
And how many homecomings have you been working on in Maryville R2?
So this is my 23rd year at Maryville. I started as a teacher, so I was a teacher for 6 of those years, and then I moved into the assistant principal role, and then have been the principal for the last 10 years. And so this is my 10th homecoming as principal and my 23rd homecoming as a spoof hound.
And so there's still themes for homecoming, right?
There are still themes for homecoming, yes.
Okay.
They kind of come and go, but I'm really excited about this year. Since we were focusing on us, it's just once a spoof hound, always a spoof hound, and it's just really focused on spoof hound pride. And, our kids are all decked out in their green and gold and white this week, and it's really just focused on celebrating what it means to be a spoof hound.
So there was a recent trend I saw online where, and this is kind of just a reflection on me, I guess, but where people are kind of doing themes of my generation now, millennials, 90s, 2000s. Is that a thing that's happening in the school?
We definitely see, if some of that odes to future or past decades or past generations, but no, I think our kids just really focused on wanting to really celebrate spoof hound. Our kids have a great sense of pride for the school that they go to. They celebrate each other, they support each other by going to games, all of those types of things. So I think it's been a fun week just kind of focusing on that part. And it was also a really great week because we've had a lot of home events, and all of our sports are off to really, great starts this year. Last week, Delton Davis and Derek Quinlan broke some school records in football. We had Connor Blackford set a new school record in cross country. It's been a great spring or great fall, and so it's neat to have a lot of home activities this week and culminating in tonight's game.
And outside of homecoming, I kind of want to talk about the school in general because during next week's Spoof Hound Spotlight with Dr. Logan Lightfoot, I talked with the superintendent about the long-range plan and the kind of progress moving forward on that. What is the benefit at the high school level that you're seeing with the long-range plan that he's working on?
You know, it's super exciting to think long range about what we could do to improve the whole district. And having been here for so long, I've kind of been through a few building projects previously when they added the Commons to the high school and when they've added the Performing Arts Center and things like that. It's really neat having all my kids go through all the different schools. The focus really of this long-range plan, or at least the phase one, would be the elementary school, and with most all of the resources and things focused there, and it's definitely needed there. And some of the renderings and drawings that we've seen are super exciting, and I think would be a win for all of our kids moving forward. But a long-range plan isn't just about the next project; it's looking at all the facilities, in 2 years and 5 years and 10 years, and that part's neat to see, because when all of our buildings were built, even including the middle school, which was built in the late 90s, have some of the things and the needs that our students have aren't being met because the buildings were built so long ago. And so seeing some of those upgrades and plans for our kids is really neat to see, and really exciting for the kids that are coming through our district now and in the future.
And I guess the final question I have is, outside of all of this, how's the school year been? It seems like a very, I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but it seems like a really good start to the school year.
It has been a really good start to the school year, and it's not been without its trials and tribulations, as every school year. So we do have those things, but I really think there is an energy with this school year, and it goes from our programs, like our soccer team is doing extremely well. They're ranked #1 in the state. Our cross-country team, both boys and girls, are doing well. Obviously, our football team is doing excellent. We've got a exciting young volleyball coach who is a former Bearcat, and she's got that program going in the right direction. So just overall, when all your activities and sports and things like that are doing well, the energy around the building is super positive. And so we like to capitalize on that and parlay that into what's going on in the classroom, and we're doing great things there. We have a mass testing day coming up in October where kids get to take the ACT or the pre-ACT in the school building, and that's always been good, and we've got huge numbers for that. And so I think kind of right now, at least, we're kind of firing on all cylinders, and that's always fun to be a part of.
All right, Tom, thank you for joining us. This is halftime here during the Maryville Spoofhound game right here on KXCV KRNW.
Support for Spoofhound football comes from Mill and Dinsdale Seed, serving farmers across the region for over a decade. Mill and Dinsdale represents Golden Harvest Seed, Pivot Bio-Proven 40, and Precision Planting. To learn more, millanddinsdaleseed.com. And from Twaddle Realty in Maryville. Broker Brian Twaddles provided real estate services for residential, farm, and commercial properties to the area for more than 25 years. For more information, 562-7562 or twaddlerealty.com. Support is also provided by Laclede Chain Manufacturing, a proud supporter of Maryville High School athletics. Employment opportunities at Laclede are available now. For more information or to view available positions, lacledechain.com. And Consumers Oil Company in Maryville. Consumers Oil has served the community for 95 years and continues to be a local source for refined fuels, propane, feed, tire services, grain merchandising, and agronomy services. More online at consumersoilmaryville.com.
Support for KXCV KRNW comes from the United States Air Force, offering more than 130 career choices, education, benefits, and more. Full-time opportunities are available now. For more information, Technical Sergeant Katrina Smith can be reached at 816-341-8227 or airforce.com. And from Northwest Missouri Regional Credit Union, serving the area since 1933, the credit union offers in-house decisions on auto and recreational loans within one business day and electronic signatures on loan documents. Northwest Missouri Regional Credit Union, today, tomorrow, together. Also from Northwest AV, providing customers with sales, design, service, and installation of surveillance and security systems for homes and businesses, as well as paging and public address systems. More information at nw-av.com. Today's game is also brought to you by Planet Sub on 4th Street next to Student Body. Planet Sub opens at 11 o'clock every morning and offers a variety of oven-baked subs, cookies, and soups, and is also available for catering. More information at facebook.com/planetsubmaryville.
You're tuned into the voice of the Maryville Spoof Hounds, KXCV, KRNW.
Welcome back out to the Hound Pound. 7-0 is our score here at halftime. It is Maryville and Cameron. As I'm Matt Tritton alongside Philip Warren. Philip, kind of a wild first half. We expected a lot more scoring, but Cameron able to control the clock for a lot of that second quarter, and here we are, 7-0.
We talked about the game plan coming in for Cameron, and that is to keep the ball out of the hands of Derek Quinlan, record setter last week. Don't let him get loose to Delton Davis, another record setter last week, and all those weapons in between. And so far, Coach Wes Bell is holding true to holding that football and grinding it out here in the first half. And they do get the ball on kickoff to start the second half.
Now, football, of course, not the only thing going on right now around Spoofhound Country. Before we dive into all the rest of the athletics going on right now here the fall for Maryville, I want to let you know that tonight's game is brought to you by the St. Joseph Sports Commission. Counting down to the inaugural St. Joseph Marathon coming up tomorrow. The countdown officially is down to hours, minutes at this point. The marathon features a course with 5 different distances to choose from. So not just a marathon, also a half marathon, a 10K, a 5K, or a relay. For additional information or to sign up, stjomosports.com. No registrations day of, so that has to be done this evening. Philip, as we take a look around the area, some record-setting performances. You mentioned football, but also around athletics as well.
Great week for Spoofhound Athletics. Before I get there, Matt, remind us, what distance are you taking on tomorrow in the St. Joe inaugural marathon, half marathon?
13.1, sir.
13.1, and those of you that are listening can probably tell just from the sound of his voice that Matt's a fit dude. And so he's going to be.
I don't think that is any way to judge.
He's going to be. Your voice just sounds like a guy that likes to get out and run. So
we're going to get to some of that. 5 miles in and eat a hot dog.
I need to know your
Walk
time
for a while,
so we can talk about it next week, because your time will be a PR next week. So here we go around Spoofhound Nation. Spoofhound Volleyball was in action Monday and Thursday. They fell to St. Joe Central 0-3 on Monday at St. Joe Central. Last night, in front of a spirited homecoming week crowd, they tussled with Cameron. They were defeated 3-1. Spoofhound Tennis, led by Coach Nicole McGinnis, won a match on Monday over Trenton 6-3, lost to Savannah Tuesday 0-9, played at home yesterday versus Cameron, winning 8-1 over the Dragons. Not the only Dragons team in town last night. There are Dragons everywhere. On the pitch, we also had some Dragons. So Spoofhound Soccer, they traveled to Savannah on Monday. They won that match 6-1. Last night, the Hounds got a 9-1 victory over Cameron right here in Maryville. And it was Twan Jacobson with a hat trick last night. Hat trick, that's 3 goals for Twan. Spoofhound Soccer continues to roll. Let's talk about Spoofhound Softball. Some good things going on there. They hosted Chillicothe on Tuesday. They played a tight one. Chili's a good team. Spoofhound Softball came up short 8-11 in that ball game, but they followed that up with back-to-back victories over East Buck 21-5 and St. Pius last night 17-2. And highlights from the week include Ella Schulte with a red-hot bat. She was 4 of 5 versus East Buck, and Emma Ailey had a grand slam, her 4th home run of the season against St. Pius last night. So those Spoofhound softball players, they are coming together a little bit there for Tyler Nickerson. Spoofhound Golf, historic. Week 2 Forum Athlete of the Week, Kaylin Offert, carved her name in the record books on her 9-hole performance just a couple of weeks ago. Followed that up with an 18-hole record-setting performance, shooting 73 at Chillicothe last night. And then let's talk a little cross-country. Coach Beatty's got his boys down at Gans Creek for a big one tomorrow. But last Saturday, Connor Blackford, happens to be this week's Daily Forum Athlete of the Week, broke the school record with a time of 16:15 down at the Mo Southern Stampede. Junior Bradley Deering PR'd that as well at 16:19 on the girls' side. Catherine Porn, a 16th place finisher and medal winner with a time of 20:28, and that's a 32nd PR for her. She's now 3rd all-time in school history with fastest time of 20:28. That cross-country team continues to impress with Coach Rodney Beatty. We told you Connor Blackford was this week's Forum Athlete of the Week. Voting is on right now. Lauren Jaster, for golf, she shot a career best 40 versus Central. Catherine Porin, talked about her in cross country, and also Derek Quinlan, historic last week, throwing for 419 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown running against number 2 St. Pius. Those are your nominees for Daily Forum Athlete of this week. Get out there and vote, folks.
You know, you look at history books and you're supposed to see all different decades represented. These classes are just shattering them. We're going to see 2023, 2022, 2024 all over the Maryville record books.
Some athletes getting after it here, and you got to think about some of those things that are happening in town. You know, you've got a great weight program, a conditioning program led by Coach Webb, but then Ryan Lessman, he's got a gym that's full of these kids that are hungry to get bigger, faster, stronger, and it's just really neat to see the dedication that these kids put into it. And, you know, that's why we see the athletes that we have here in Maryville, and it's a tradition that continues to grow.
You see so many athletes at this level get motivated by this coaching staff and Coach Lessman and Coach Webb and Coach Houchin. But then you've got Coach Lessman also working with the elementary kids down at Eugene Field. And from kindergarten on up throughout those kids at EFES, I mean, they're getting a taste of that right now. Now, he's not having them lift weights or doing anything crazy, but they kind of get a feel for, like, I want to play for these guys. I want to go out there and be the best I can be, and it's pretty cool.
And today we had student athletes in uniform across those different sports we just talked about. They're high-fiving kids on the way in, and that's just one more way to connect athletes with these young kids and keep that tradition growing.
And I can tell you right now that that was a pretty special moment for those young kids to see the role models there in jerseys, in uniform there to shake their hands. As we're getting this second half underway, a pooch kick from Noah Bellamy. It is received by Caden Fletcher for Cameron. He calls for a fair catch, and we'll see Cameron come out to start their first drive of the second half. The ball will be at the Cameron 39-yard line. Started their last drive of the second quarter at their own 8. They made it inside the 15-yard line, but ran out of time. Maryville came up with a big defensive stop at the end of that first half.
Methodical drive that took so much time, just carved that clock up and down. Really put Cameron in a spot where they, again, were about a fistful of jersey away from scoring points for Boston Hageman there. They just ran out of time in that drive.
Reminds me of your favorite Clint Eastwood movie, Fistful of Dollars.
Love that show.
First play of the third quarter. Maryville in front, 7-0. Handoff goes up the middle. Hudson Loader, not a whole lot doing. He'll pick up 2 before he is shoved back. Phoenix Phillips getting in there, as well as Wesley Sneed and Sadler View.
Phoenix Phillips, he's been kind of a little Dirty Harry all night long. You know, anything Clint Eastwood, that's a great movie. Fistful of Dollars, Dirty Harry. These guys are playing some tough football, but so's Cameron. So we'll see who comes out with just a little bit more fire in their belly and see which team can take back control of this ball game.
Any which way but loose as Leesonby goes under center on this 2nd down and 7. The handoff will go left side, and once again, maybe a gain of about 2 that time for Peyton Garr before he's driven back, and a 3rd and 5 on the way.
That time the Gran Torino wasn't going too far, bottled it up, got a flat tire.
Well, I feel like at this point for Cameron, we've seen them go for it on 4th downs. They're nearing midfield. It's a 3rd down and 5. They want to pick up a few, but then at that point, I think they have to ask themselves, do they feel lucky? A 1:30 kick, actually to a noon kickoff. We'll be on the air at 11 a.m. with your pregame. Under center, Leesonby facing a 3rd down and 5. As Cameron started to put Kenton Gates in motion before the official blew his whistle and they were ready for play. Now they're ready to go. They'll send Garr in motion this time, right to left. He cuts up under one defender, breaks through one tackle from Sadler View. He's going to be stopped. Looks like just about half a yard short. Garr picks up 4.
Tough running by Garr. Tough running all night by Cameron. It's taken all but 2 or 3 spoofhounds to bring those Cameron running backs down each and every time, but they are submarining and playing real tough. Unfortunately, they're going to measure this, and if history repeats itself, no, I have a flag on the play. I didn't even see any laundry. Did you see any laundry on that?
They are going to come out and take a measure.
All right.
And the last time, you're right, they just the nose of the football got just enough. And while they come out and bring the chains out to measure, I want to remind you that Laclede Chain Manufacturing, the official sponsor of the Chain Gang here on KXCV KRNW. Laclede Chain is on East 1st Street here in Maryville, a family-owned company producing various chains for hardware, industrial, snow chains, and more. Additional information is available at lacledechain.com. So a 4th down is on the way now for Cameron. 10-17 to play here in the third quarter. Maryville up 7-0. Scored on the fourth play of the game as a 23-yard touchdown pass. Derek Quinlan to Delton Davis.
And Matt, don't you feel like this is a very important play of the game for Cameron? Just 4th and inches. You know, they did such a great job on offense to end the half. Just didn't come away with any points.
We haven't seen Derek Quinlan in probably about, like 45 minutes of real time since he's been on the field. So
I think he's had time to grow a beard.
Fourth and inches on the way for Cameron. As Leeseby steps up and goes under center. Turns, the give. And Loader is going to be, it looks like the officials coming in from the sideline. That is going to be a pickup of 1 yard and enough to pick up the first down.
Boy, he might have gotten that initial yard, but the Spoof Hounds kind of blew him up there towards the end of that play. It looked like perhaps he wasn't going to get it, but enough to get that first down. And again, Cameron keeps the clock turning. Another first down in their back pocket. Keep the clock running.
And the ball right now on the Maryville 49-yard line. As we have seen a whole lot of this Spoof-Hound defense. Cameron controlled it for much of that second quarter. Now Dragons starting this third quarter with the ball as well, as flags fall as we get set for this first down play. And a false start will back Cameron back. 4th penalty of the evening on the Dragons. So we'll see them here on a first down and 15. We talked about them being a team that doesn't want to get off schedule and get behind the sticks. They overcame that a couple times in that long drive in the second quarter. But Maryville looking for someone to step up, a big tackle for loss to back them up even further. And again, we've only seen one pass attempt technically for Leesonby. That was just to kill the clock late in that second quarter. They fake to give up the middle. Pitch going to the outside. Nothing doing. There's that tackle for loss. Delton Davis.
Delton Davis is a tough guy to beat in space. He's got so much speed. He plays with so much confidence. And he was out there to make a big play. So that's 2 negative plays in a row for Cameron and really puts them in a spot that they don't want to be in. You talked about Leesonby, only 1 pass play. That really wasn't even a play. That was just clocking it. Puts them in a position where you got to think pass, and that is not a comfort level.
River Meadows loses 5 yards. Still a second down and 20. As we'll see 2 receivers split out wide to the right, 1 to the left here for Leesonby. He will roll to the right, wants to throw for it, gets this one away, and it is caught and dropped immediately. Sadler View and Boston Hagman converging right away on the sophomore Meadows.
That's how you make things uncomfortable if you're Meadows. Next time he rolls out, if and when that happens, he's going to hear footsteps. Those guys were on him really quickly. Good read by their eyes, and they put some thunder behind that.
And if Leesonby holds on to that one a little bit longer, Gus McCullough was coming in a hurry. A 4-yard pickup, a 3rd down and 16 on the way. As this Maryville defense licking its chops, a chance to get off the field as Cameron's eaten up 4 minutes of this third quarter to start the second half. Back under center goes Leesonby. Fakes to give one way, now off to, I believe, Meadows, and he got stuffed right away. Phoenix Phillips into the backfield for a 2-yard loss.
Phoenix Phillips just loading up, going any which way but loose that time, and he just makes himself known. Didn't take a whole lot to even wrap him up, just threw him to the turf. That 6'3" frame. He's a monster.
Wobbly spiral on this punt will go out of bounds right to the Maryville sideline. It is going to be spotted right about the 37-yard line. 38 is where Maryville will take over their first possession of this third quarter. So we'll see Derek Quinlan back on the field, 9 for 14 passing, 153 yards and a touchdown in that opening half. Touchdown pass went to Delton Davis, who has 82 yards through the air.
Spoof Hound offense on the sideline doing a little bit of light yoga just to warm back up as they get ready to take the ball for the first time in what seems like a long time in this game. Didn't see it much in that second quarter with the kickoff going to Cameron to start the half. There was 7:30 left. First chance to see the ball in well over 15-20 minutes of game time.
And they're trying to get the Maryville football out onto the field. As they hand the one in from the sideline, the official looking at it, unsure of whose ball it is. Now they're going to say it is a spoof hound football. They have possession of the football, but they're trying to get the right football to the right team. Now they'll flip it across the field to Cameron, and they've got the Maryville football at the 38-yard line.
Block M, squishy M, that's the big conversation.
The M and the C, they
look a lot alike.
It's hard. Back to pass, Quinlan gets this one out of his hands in a hurry. A little bit low, couldn't be handled by Davis as Cameron bringing in the pressure right away. So a 2nd and 10 now coming up, 7:27 to play in this third quarter. Still a 7-0 Maryville lead. Two backs in the backfield with Quinlan. They give this one off to Davis, sweeping out to the left side across the 40-yard line, upended and goes down at the 44. He'll pick up about 6, bringing up a 3rd down.
Big hit that time on Davis, just kind of pile drives over, lands a little bit awkwardly on his helmet that time, but positive gain that time. That's what we want to see from Maryville. We talked about that run game and trying to get something established there so you can return the favor and chew up that clock. 3rd and 4, clearly a manageable down and distance for the Spoof Hounds.
From the Maryville 44-yard line, out of the pistol formation, Quinlan looking to his left. Quick out route goes to White Garner. Garner cuts back toward the middle of the field, back to the outside, makes a few men miss, then goes down inside the 45-yard line. And that is plenty to pick up a 1st down.
White Garner's first catch of the ball game. Did a great job with ball security. That's one of those where Cameron was pursuing pretty well. Might have a chance to kind of pop that ball out, but Garner able to hold on and pick up a big 1st down.
Gain of 12. That'll make this a 1st and 10 on the way for Maryville from the Cameron 44-yard line. 2 receivers either side out of the pistol formation. Back to pass once again, Quinlan. Looking left, a little bit of pressure, throws this one across the middle. It is caught by Colton Amy. Amy goes up high to bring that one in across the 30, and he's brought down at the 27. He'll pick up 17.
Great to see the senior Colton Amy hang in there, get that ball thrown just a little bit high, but boy, Derek Quinlan just is a master at reading that defense and just holding that ball long enough to find that open receiver, and that time Colton Amy, great play, great pitch and catch. Big
Kind of had to drop the arm slot a little bit to make that pass too. 17 yards, the handoff now going up the middle. Pushing forward this time, it is Tucker Turner. They'll pick up about 1 on 1st down.
Tucker Turner, big hero from last week, just kind of getting some tough yardage. Just, you know, the old saying, had to go to school, I went uphill both ways in the snow, sleet, and rain, and that's what it's doing tonight for Tucker Turner. Tough yards for him.
Quinlan to pass once again, fires this one out right side, all by himself. Delton Davis gets to the sideline, makes those couple men miss back toward the middle of the field. He'll go down inside the 10-yard line.
I'm not sure how you leave him so wide open, but there wasn't anybody within 5 or 10 yards of Delton Davis that time. Probably one of the easier throws of the night for Derek Quinlan, and then just fun to watch him. He's a bit of a human joystick.
Gain of 18. As Davis, I believe, right about 100 yards receiving on the night.
100 yards, perfect. Your math is fabulous.
1st and goal, back to pass, stepping up as Quinlan makes 2 men miss, wrapped up around the legs, still on his feet now, finally goes down. Looked like he almost dropped that ball, able to secure it. Not a terrible time to take a sack, not forcing it into the end zone there. 5:05 to play in this third quarter. Maryville in front by 7. Last time in the red zone, it was a takeaway by Cameron.
Only turnover of the game thus far. Big one for the Cameron Dragons. This time, if you're Maryville, you just want to punch it in the end zone.
Back to pass on 2nd and goal from the 14. Into the flats quickly. It goes to Davis. Just a gain of 2. We'll see a 3rd and long on the way.
Quinlan up to 202 yards passing. Has put the ball in the air 19 times. One of those a touchdown to Delton Davis of 23 yards. Great ball security. On a 3rd down, again, you think Maryville's got something in their back pocket, they can pick this up.
Quinlan on 3rd and goal, steps up in the pocket, looking, rolling to his right. He's going to take off and run himself. A flag falls. Quinlan tackled right around the 5-yard line.
That flag coming in from an area where you expect holding. Quinlan was doing a little bit of scramble drill there too, so you might have a offensive lineman that got a little head start downfield. So we'll see what the White Hat calls on this play.
As Quinlan heading toward the sideline, a little bit of a limp with his head down. He'll get checked on by athletic trainer Lyle Christensen as he comes over. As we got a timeout on the field with 4:11 left to play here in the third quarter. We will step aside as well. We'll be back with more here on KXCV KRNW.
Support for today's game comes from Laclede Chain Manufacturing, a proud supporter of Maryville High School athletics. Employment opportunities at Laclede are available now. For more information or to view available positions, lacledechain.com.
Support for KXCV KRNW comes from local Edward Jones Financial Advisors, offering retirement and investment advice to help customers reach financial goals. Jeanette Patchett, J.R. Kurz, Jeff Von Barron, Chad Hannigan, and Scott Nielsen of Edward Jones Maryville are proud supporters of the Spoof Hounds.
Support for the Bearcat Radio Network is provided by Twaddle Realty in Maryville. Broker Brian Twaddles provided real estate services for residential, farm, and commercial properties for more than 25 years. More information at 562-7562 or twaddlerealty.com.
Well, Matthew Walter onto the field with a 4th and goal on the way for Maryville. The officials pick up the flag and wave it off. Walter played in a couple games last year. Now another flag falls down as Maryville back out onto the field, and Cole Zarbano signaling that this one's going to be on Cameron.
Yeah, I think this time Cameron's going to pick up a penalty, and I'm not sure.
And this is one where you can't, because it would be a dead ball foul, and they're kind of motioning toward the sideline.
Sportsmanlike on Cameron. That flag came really quickly, and side judge was looking right down that way. And boy, if you're Cameron, that is not a penalty that you want to take, as you played such a good ball game. You don't want to have any kind of lapses in judgment like you just had there. You're setting Maryville up in too good a position on 4th down in just a couple.
Make this a 4th and goal from the 2 instead of from the 4. Not the end of the world cutting the distance in half, but it does put Maryville a little closer. Once again, Matthew Walter, backup quarterback, on the field right now as they're checking on Derek Quinlan. Back to pass. It is Walter. Rolling to his right. The rush gets back there. Dumps this one off. It is picked off by Cameron right at the goal line. And the Dragons come up with another huge stand. Another red zone turnover on the Spoof Hounds.
2 turnovers now for the Spoof Hounds in the red zone. And mighty momentum swinging the way of the Dragons.
So Cameron takes over in a similar spot we saw at the start of that second quarter. They ran out the rest of the time. The second quarter took over at their own 8, marched down the field, couldn't come away with any points.
Got to think, Cameron, they've been playing some inspired football all night long. They look up at the scoreboard and they see down by 1 score, 1 touchdown. They're playing some good football, so you've got to stay disciplined and pay it right back.
Trying to stretch this one to the outside. Not much doing that time for Kenton Gates. He's able to pick up about 2. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 8.
Look at the Northsiders, the dog pound out there. They've got a nice big fire lit, and you hope that that signifies it's time to light a fire in you guys on the defensive side of the ball. Go out there and make a play. Need one guy, make a play. Equalize this. 2 turnovers to the bad guys. Time for us to force one.
2nd down and 9 from the Cameron 12-yard line with a man in motion. They give up the middle. And just a gain of maybe 2 or 3. As Loader coming up. Not a whole lot there, but a 3rd and 5. A little more manageable for the Dragons, still deep in their own territory. Three minutes to play here in the third quarter. Not a lot of scoring, but the clock has been moving an awful lot with the Dragons out there. As they substitute a couple players, down to 9 seconds on the play clock as Cameron breaks the huddle. Facing a 3rd down and 5. Leesenby back under center. 2 on the play clock. They get the snap. He's going to keep this one himself. Now pitches and able to break through 1 tackle out near the 20-yard line. Gates might have picked up enough for that first. We'll see where they spot it, and they do go ahead and move the sticks.
Well, it sure looked like Cameron, a couple different guys, got off that ball before it was snapped. Surprised there wasn't a penalty thrown on that, but how many times have we seen Cameron tonight need 4, pick up 4, need 5, pick up 5, nose of the football, enough for a first down. They're doing just enough to keep that clock moving and keep odds in their favor of tying this ball game up.
Doing enough, breaking 1 or 2 tackles just to get to that mark, as another handoff going off the right tackle. Maybe half a yard that time for the Dragons, getting up from the bottom of that pile. Kenton Gates. Spoofhounds haven't got a turnover of their own defensively yet, but they have kept Cameron off the scoreboard. Still 7-0 Maryville with 1:34 to play in this third quarter. Nice work up front from guys like Viertaler, Sneed, Phillips, Scarborough, Nielsen. Needing more as Cameron faces a 2nd down and 9. Handoff up the middle, nothing doing that time. A whole host of green jerseys swarming. Only 1 yard that time for Peyton Garr.
On cue, that defensive line makes a play. I think Viertaler was the first one in there to crash down. Phoenix Phillips wasn't far behind. Wesley Sneed doing his part. Great job tonight by that defensive line. And again, not making those guys in the secondary, your safeties, your corners, make those big plays because it's happening right there in the box. And Spoofhounds more often than not have won that battle.
A 3rd down on the way right now for Cameron. Down to 40 seconds remaining in this third quarter. They get on the ball quickly. Down to 1 second on the play clock. They get the snap away. The pitch going around that right side. Don Allen comes up and sticks him. Coles Arbano also jumping in there. Brody Shepard on the play. A gain of maybe 2 that time for Talon Edens.
That's a big time play by Don Allen, because if he doesn't get to that corner and establish that, that's a big play for Cameron. And that's about the 3rd or 4th time he has just absolutely gone body on body, see what you got, shed a blocker, and make a huge play. Obvious punting position here if you're Cameron. You're not going to take a gamble when it's that close as the quarter expires. So come back and we'll see a punt.
4th quarter on the way. Still a 7-0 Maryville lead. We'll take a break. Back in a minute on KXCV KRNW.
Support for Spoofhound football comes from Millen Dinsdale Seed, serving farmers across the region for over a decade. Millen Dinsdale represents Golden Harvest Seed, Pivot Bio Proven 40, and Precision Planting. To learn more, millendinsdaleseed.com.
Support for today's game comes from Compass Dental Group, providing full dentistry from braces and implants to same-day crowns and more from Doctors Bruce Twaddle, Brian Viertaler, and Spencer Twaddle. Compass Dental Group proudly supports Spoofhound Athletics. For more information, compassdentalgroup.com.
Support comes from Hallelujah Counseling on South Main in Maryville, offering Christian-based mental health counseling, including anxiety and depression therapy, trauma counseling, stress management, relationship issues, and more. To schedule a consultation, 660-223-1700.
Well, at the outset of this ball game, Coach Webb had talked about valuing possessions because Cameron wanted to come out there and minimize as much as they possibly could. And Cameron has done just that so far this evening. They had 2 possessions in that third quarter, a punt on the way here in the 4th, but Maryville got in the red zone. They've been in the red zone twice in this football game. Both 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter came away with nothing.
It's been an impressive game plan by Cameron tonight, just chewing up that clock and having confidence in some of those big 3rd downs and 4th downs.
Lining up under center is Leeseby. Now he backs out, looks at the sideline. They're going to shift into their punting formation. Wyatt Garner will go back deep to receive the punt for the Spoofhounds. Punt is away. Kind of a wobbly punt, but it's returned at the 35-yard line across the 40. Angling toward the right side, gets to the middle of the field, gets a block out there from Boston Hageman all the way toward the right sideline. He's finally drugged down out at the 46-yard line. Great field position, as we'll see what Matthew Walter can do this upcoming possession as a flag comes in late.
They're going to add some penalty yardage to the start of this drive for Maryville. I think they got Boston Hageman a little bit too much excitement in that kick return there, that punt return, and he'll probably get a little bit of an earful from the coach on that one. It's homecoming, got a big crowd, got Bearcats here and there. Trying to do everything you can to get this team just a little bit of juice, a little bit of excitement, moving this ball forward. Your quarterback's on the sideline right now, getting a lot of attention. He's not in the game right now, your star quarterback. You bring in your junior, who's got some playing time behind his name, Matthew Walter.
Walter threw an interception on 4th and goal last possession, but so far this season came into the game 1 of 3 passing. Last year is 5 of 9. He's thrown a couple 2-point conversions, so they've trusted him in some tight spots before at the goal line. We'll see what they can do here as he hands the ball up the middle. Tucker Turner able to find a good lane, and he's going to pick up 6 yards on 1st down.
That might be where you see Maryville focus a little bit more on that running game. Tucker Turner, Colton Amy. You've seen a little bit more of Don Allen out of that backfield. You've seen quite a bit tonight of Delton Davis out of that backfield, either on jet sweeps or just taking the ball, direct handoff. So we'll see if those guys get a little bit more involved, see if they can establish that run. They've got an offensive line that's playing some really good pass protect football, but we'll see if they can get the ground game established.
Walter under center. Cameron jumps, and a flag falls. They whistle this one dead. A defender there for the Dragons getting a little bit of an early jump. They're going to whistle this offsides on Logan Barton.
Got a couple guys offsides. That almost looked like the New England Patriots attempt at blocking a field goal. It looked like I was rushing down the sideline and was going to jump right through everybody to try to disrupt that play. You know what I'm talking about. See that?
I saw that.
Was that against the Raiders, or I can't remember. Did the Raiders play the Patriots?
It's against the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
I don't think you saw it because were you watching the game?
I was
Silver
so
and
impressed.
Black,
I figured
teal and orange. That's kind of hard to.
That's going to change the game of football on those PATs and field goals.
Cameron might have jumped early again. There no flag falling as Maryville trying to run up the middle, and swallowed up immediately was Colton Amy. Up front that time for Cameron. Marcus Eaton. .10:44 left to play here in the ballgame. Maryville's in front 7-0. The Spoofhounds have the ball right now on their own 42-yard line, facing a 2nd down and 12. 3 down linemen the defense right now for Cameron. They give the ball to Amy. Amy now around to Allen. Allen trying to cut upfield up the right hash. Gets across the 45. He's cut down about the 47. He'll pick up 5 yards and bring up a 3rd down.
And if you're watching the game tonight on the Maryville Spoofhounds athletic page for YouTube, but that's a little old school Maryville run game right there.
Breaking out some of that wing T as Derek Quinlan still on the sideline, sitting next to Dr. Pat Haar. Matthew Walter in at quarterback. We'll have Boston Hegeman split out wide to the left side, just off the wing to the left. It is Colton Amy. Tucker Turner in the backfield. And Walter going under center on a 3rd down. They fake the give to Amy. Walter trying to get away from the rush, rolling to his left, fires near the sideline. It is caught, taking off up that sideline. That is Boston Hegeman. Across the 40-yard line, there is a flag on the field.
Big play again that time. Way to stay alive. Young Matthew Walter fires a nice pass downfield, but I think, again, Maryville is going to be called for a holding penalty.
So 3rd down and 6 they convert on. This will
been a big play had they got that conversion.
It is on the Spoofhounds. They'll back up and they'll try it again here on 3rd down.
Those are some of the things that happen when you lose your starting quarterback, a guy you've relied on snap after snap, game after game, been the starter since his junior year. This is his 2nd year starter, record-setting quarterback, and he goes out of the game. Matthew, again, very capable backup, but he's just not Derek. So you've got to go through some of those intricacies as a team, come together, face a little bit of adversity.
And Walter goes to the sideline, talks briefly with Matt Houchin, now back out onto the field, facing a 3rd down and long. He'll go under center. Looking to pass, looking to his right, heaving this one deep down the field, looking for Wyatt Garner. Garner goes up high, brings it in, 30, 20, 10, 15, into the end zone. Garner scores. A flag comes in, 9:02 left to go in this football game. The Spoofhounds go up by a couple possessions. Cameron face guarding that time, but Garner still able to bring that one in.
And we'll see what the penalty is here.
Now another flag coming well after the play.
One being waved off on the near side here, but White Hat, he's got something to say about that play. We'll see what the penalty is. Cameron's asking for a push off. I'm not sure I saw that.
Now that was just good coverage, but Garner did a great job of going up and catching that ball.
And Matthew Walter putting in the air with dudes all around him. Saw that arm. Great looking pass. Plenty of air under it. Gave Garner an opportunity to make a play that time and took advantage. Again, let's see what this penalty is.
Unsportsmanlike after the play. So the 62-yard touchdown stands. Walter to Garner, and that is a big one as Maryville goes up by 2 possessions with 9:02 remaining. The penalty will come up on the kickoff, so Noah Bellamy on for the PAT to make this a 14-point game. What a huge play on 3rd down. So Matt Houchin giving up a few words to Matt Walter, then Walter tosses it down the field.
How do you like it? You come into the ball game, replacing your star quarterback. Your first pass is an interception in the red zone. Your second pass, a 62-yard bomb for a touchdown.
Just the way you draw it up. As Cameron jumps into the neutral zone, offsides.
We got a couple of extra eyes up here tonight, and I think we all agree from up here it sure looked like Wyatt Garner might have stepped out of bounds once, maybe twice, but we aren't going to argue that tonight.
I was not one of them. I was saying, hey, it's a touchdown. A couple other guys, maybe.
Boy.
No replay in high school football.
No replay.
Walter is still on the field. He is the holder. Gets it down. PAT on the way from Noah Bellamy. 14-0 Hounds with 9:02 left to play in this one. We'll take a timeout. Back with more from Maryville.
Today's game is brought to you by local internet provider United Fiber, providing a variety of fiber-fast internet plans for residents and businesses with speeds up to 1 gig. More information is available online at unitedfiber.com.
Support for today's game comes from Nucor LMP on East 1st in Maryville, specializing in cold-finish steel products while emphasizing safety for its employees. Nucor is a proud supporter of Spoofhound Athletics. For more information, 660-582-3127.
Support for today's Spoofhound broadcast comes from Northwest Cell, serving the region for over 30 years. Along with nationwide coverage, Northwest Cell offers a wide selection of features, including unlimited plans. For more details on plans and devices, nwmcell.com.
Support for the Spoofhounds on radio comes from Mosaic Medical Center, Maryville, providing comprehensive care close to home. For more information or to schedule an appointment, 660-562-2525 or mymlc.com/Maryville.
What a turn of events, a 3rd down and long after a penalty. And Maryville comes up with a big score. Matthew Walter to Wyatt Garner, 62 yards. And this game changed in a hurry on that play, Phillip.
Kicking off from the 25, an unsportsmanlike assessed on Maryville after that 60-yard touchdown throw from Matthew Walter. Yep, you heard that right. Matthew Walter, backup quarterback in relief of Derek Quinlan, who left the game with an injury. But what a throw that time by Matthew Walter to Wyatt Garner.
Sadler View wanted to kick this one away, a high end-over-end kick. It's going to be taken by Gar across the 25 to the 30-yard line. He is hit. Ball might have popped free. And it looks like Cameron's going to be whistled down about the 31-yard line where they will start this upcoming drive. Matthew Walter living up to that nickname, Matty Ice, here in this 4th quarter.
Cool under pressure. The pocket was collapsing, and he stepped up and delivered a beautiful ball to Wyatt Garner on that sideline. Wyatt Garner well covered, but able to make the play of the night so far and put Maryville in front 2 scores. It's been through since the 2010 game on October 28th. This game has been anything but a 2-score game, and that game Maryville won 14-0, and that's the closest game they played in the series, over 16 wins for Maryville.
But the Hounds have shut Cameron out for over 11 quarters now. Shutouts each of the last 2 seasons, and now through 3 quarters that we are playing here in the 4th. A short gain there on 1st down.
Score over the last 2 years, 101-0, and that's a credit to both your offense and a defense that's dialed in and playing some good football. And it's kind of that bend, don't break, if you will. Cameron's come up with a couple of key turnovers in the red zone that have probably kept this game just a little bit closer than it is. But if Maryville's able to walk out of here with a win, it's just going to be one of those gritty wins that you're glad your team went through. You're glad your team had a little bit of adversity to face and overcome. And then you just hope that everything can get right with Derek Quinlan as we move forward with this season.
Leesenby, quick pitch to Gar, tried to cut that one back, nowhere to run. He will lose one. 8:02 left to play in this one. One thing that Cameron did really well was they kind of churned away, chipped away, picked up some first downs, very methodical. They ate up clock, but now down 2 possessions in this fourth quarter. Still taking their time, but they really don't have the luxury of playing without urgency right now.
And this is where you think your defense in the driver's seat. Cameron doesn't have the offense to be quick strike, down 2 scores. Clock's ticking. You've already burned one of your timeouts early in the second half. Not to say Cameron can't get out with those horses and get downfield, but Maryville seems to be in the driver's seat for sure.
And there's timeout number 2 for the Dragons. 7:32 to play, 1 timeout remaining for Cameron. They trail by 14. We'll take a break. Back with more Spoofhound football.
This Spoofhound broadcast is underwritten by FCS Financial of Maryville. FCS is a customer-owned ag lender that's served Missouri for over a century with loans for farm equipment, livestock, beginning farmers, hunting land, rural homes, and more. For more information, 660-582-6464 or myfcsfinancial.com.
Support for KXCV KRNW comes from the Northwest Technical School, offering a variety of adult education courses this fall, ranging from dance like salsa and the Western two-step to arts and crafts such as rug braiding, painting, and t-shirt quilting. The full fall catalog of courses can be found online at kxcv.org or nts.maryville.k12.mo.us.
7:32 to play here in Maryville. A 3rd and 8 on the way for the Cameron Dragons. Alongside Philip Horn, I'm Matt Tritton. Maryville in front 14-0, a first quarter touchdown just about a minute into the game. And then Matthew Walter just hit Wyatt Garner a couple of moments ago. And the Spoofhounds up by 2 scores. So will we see another Cameron pass right here, Philip Horn?
I don't think so. Keep it on the ground. That's their style.
I think you're right. They're going to give this one off to Meadows. He'll fight forward and pick up a couple. A 4th and 5 on the way as we tick down on 7 minutes to play.
4th and 5 deep in your own territory. It's not, I don't know if you call that deep. Do you want to call that deep in your own territory? What do you want to call that?
I think that's far enough in your own territory.
Kids now call it mid.
You are not comfortable.
But you're not going to be at all comfortable where you're at.
The kids at the elementary always say that Mr. Porn, he is so mid.
So mid.
That's a compliment, right?
I don't know.
I think that's what you want.
Like this food is mid.
I don't know.
That play was mid. The play calling's mid. Tonight's game is mid. I don't know.
I'm too old.
Got to get hip.
On 4th down, penalty flags fall. The pitch goes. Cameron fighting forward. They're going to get enough for the first down, but this will be backed up.
Going to be backed up. Procedure.
It was a good run by Peyton Gar, but all for naught. Back Cameron up another 5 yards. 7th penalty of the night on the Dragons. We'll see a 4th and a long 9 on the way.
And while you talked about the Bearcat game being moved to a noon kickoff, the moisture has stayed out of the air and out of the stadium here tonight. Last week against St. Pius, we kind of started out in a bit of a rainstorm. No delay, thankfully. Not like that first home game for the Bearcats. Had a little bit of lightning in the area, and I think that's what they're trying to avoid tomorrow night. Andy Peterson with a tough call there to get that game moved up and welcome Lincoln.
Blue Tigers coming to town. It'll be a noon kickoff for the Bearcats tomorrow. Earlier this evening, Northwest Missouri State Soccer, a 4-0 shutout of Missouri Southern. Was 4-0 at halftime. They go on to win by that score as a 4th and 9 on the way. The pitch goes outside, breaking through one tackle, but not able to get away. Maryville swarms defensively. A pickup of just 1 on about 4th and a long 9. And that'll be a turnover on downs. The Spoofhounds have a chance to add to this 14-point lead. Gar on the carry.
And you feel like with that play, a little bit of heartbreak ridge right there. Cameron's been driving the ball, and then that just feels like the play that probably sends you to the sidelines with your head down, your shoulders down, thinking, man, what do we got to do to get a score against these guys? It's been 2 years now. and it's still a goose egg on the board.
Just can't quite get over those bridges of Madison County. 6:17 left to play here in the fourth quarter. 14-0. Maryville in front. Matthew Walter back under center. A 62-yard touchdown pass on the last possession. This time he hands off to Tucker Turner up the middle. Had a block ahead of him from Delton Davis. Breaks through one tackler across the 20. Shuts another one. Finally knocked out of bounds inside the 10. Coming up, Gage Jones makes the tackle that time.
Great to see Tucker Turner with a fantastic run that time. And then you got Wyatt Garner out there, and he's smart play there. He picks up a block. He's going to probably pick up a penalty there too. So just let Tucker Turner do his magic. Nice 12-yard pickup there.
Down to the, let's say the 9.5-yard line for Maryville as Turner takes this one up the middle. He is hit at the line of scrimmage, driven backward. Down to 6 minutes left to play in this one. A second and goal on the way for the Hounds. Mentioned Northwest Soccer with a 4-0 win. Northwest Missouri State Volleyball, a sweep of the Newman Jets this evening. They took that by set scores of 25-16, 25-12, and 25-22. Bearcats got their first conference win of the season on Tuesday. Went to St. Joseph and whipped up on the Griffins. Second and goal from the 9 on the way for the Spoof Hounds. They give to Delton Davis. Davis goes left, cuts back to the right, middle of the field, sheds a couple of tacklers, gets inside the 5, and he'll fight forward down to the 4-yard line.
Third carry of the night for Delton Davis. He's been active all over the field, and typically we're seeing him catch the ball deep downfield, but when he runs the ball, I think he's doing probably as much work going east to west as he is north to south. That sure makes every play exciting.
Inside 5 minutes left to play. Third and goal from the 4-yard line. Walter under center once again. Turns. The give goes to Amy. Amy has an opening, fights forward, diving toward the end zone. Touchdown, Spoof Hounds. Colton Amy from 4 yards out tacks onto this lead.
4 yards out, a touchdown on homecoming night. That's one that you will remember for a long time. Great to see Colton Amy involved in the action there, and a great drive there by the Maryville Spoof Hounds.
That is Noah Bellamy on for the PAT to make this a 21-point ball game. Walter to hold, Allen to snap. It is down, kick on the way from Bellamy, and it is through the uprights. 21-0 Maryville with 4:45 remaining, on their way to a homecoming victory over the Cameron Dragons. We will step aside and be back with more on KXCV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe.
Support for today's game comes from Nucor LMP on East 1st in Maryville, specializing in cold finish steel products while emphasizing safety for its employees. Nucor is a proud supporter of Spoof Hound Athletics. For more information, 660-582-3127.
Support for today's game is brought to you by MTE Office Center. With locations in Maryville and Cameron, MTE provides laptops, computers, networking, printing, furniture, and office supplies. More information at mteoffice.com or on Facebook. MTE Office Center, powering business.
Maryville punches in one more. 21-0 is our score. 4:45 remaining with Philip Horn. I'm Matt Tritton. Boy, this fourth quarter, just what the doctor ordered, Philip. A 7-0 ball game for 3+ quarters before the Spoof Hounds able to kind of start to break out of things.
And Matthew Walter thrust into the ball game. Derek Quinlan injured. Matthew Walter steps in, engineered a couple of scoring drives there. Great to see for these Maryville Spoof Hounds, and that is your future quarterback, so good to see him get some reps, and really in some meaningful reps at that.
Sadler View, the end over end kick goes deep down to about the 6-yard line. It is fumbled initially by Cameron. They'll dive on top of it at the 9. That was guard trying to field that kick. So they'll back themselves up a little further, down by 3 scores. And now needing to go about 85 yards to the end zone.
Just seems like an insurmountable task if you're Cameron at this point in the ball game. Down 3 scores. Haven't put the ball into pay dirt quite yet. Just feel like you're slogging uphill both ways all night long. Had some great drives picked up some crucial third and fourth downs to move the sticks and keep the clock turning, but down 21-0. Got to really wonder how they're going to get back in this ball game.
Running that option once again. Not much doing as Loader picks up about one before he is stuffed. A 2nd down and 9 on the way. Loader just 8 rushing yards in this second half. He has 40 total for the game. As Cameron again back in the huddle, taking their time, coming up on 4 minutes left to play. A sub comes in from the sideline. That is Kenton Gates, as now they break the huddle and get on the ball. A 2nd down and 9, 5 seconds left on the play clock. Leesenby under center. He pitches to Gates coming around to the right side, breaks through one tackle. Then he is swarmed after about a 2-yard gain. We'll see a 3rd and 7 on the way as the clock continues to tick.
Loader, you mentioned last week, 13 carries, 115 yards. Last week, an overtime loss, 20-26 to Chillicothe. Chillicothe doesn't look like they're going to be able to repay any favors to Maryville and pick up a W against St. Pius like they did last year. St. Pius all over Chillicothe right now, 45-13 in the 4th quarter in Chillicothe, Jerry Litton Memorial Stadium.
That was huge last year for Chile, knocking off Pius as that opened the door for the Spoof Hounds to win the Midland Empire Conference and also get to host St. Pius here during districts.
Sorry, Matt.
I was going to say a 3rd down and 7, but whistles and we won't get this snap away.
We talked about the streak Maryville's on right now, 16 wins over Cameron. Prior to that district win over St. Pius, St. Pius had beat Maryville 3 times in a row.
There you go. Maryville trying to tack on another. 3:10 left to play here in the 4th quarter. Timeout on the field. We will step aside. You're listening to Maryville High School football.
Support for today's game comes from the Northwest Missouri Regional Council of Governments, helping those struggling to afford internet service through the Affordable Connectivity Program. Joy has information at 660-582-5121, extension 1. Marketing assistance from the FCC. Today's Spoof Hound broadcast is brought to you by Laclede Chain Manufacturing on East 1st Street in Maryville. Laclede is a family-owned company producing various chains for hardware, industrial, snow chains, and more. Additional information is at lacledechain.com.
3:10 left to go in this one. Maryville in front, 21-0. And support for the Spoof Hounds on radio comes from Mosaic Medical Center Maryville, providing comprehensive care close to home. For more information or to schedule an appointment, 660-562-2525 or mymlc.com/Maryville. 3rd down and 7. Cameron's going to pick up about 1, and they'll bring up a 4th down and 6. Well, next week, Cameron will be back at home taking on the Savannah Savages. Meanwhile, the Maryville Spoof Hounds. Next week, they will be on the road, getting set for the Benton Cardinals. A couple nice back-to-back games here at the Hound Pound before taking off next week. A punt here from Leesenby, a line drive kick. It bounds out of bounds right about the 42-yard line. So Spoof Hounds will take over at their own 42 for this possession.
Tough schedule for Cameron, going at St. Pius, Chillicothe, at Maryville, and then Class 4 Savannah. They are in Class 4, so they will not be in our district this year when we get to that point. Kate Chappelle, excellent running back out of Savannah, having another great year down there. Again, they are going to be in Class 4, so they'll be in a district that features some pretty big schools. They got a tough road in their district, but right now we're just thinking about conference, picking up those conference wins. Right now, Maryville undefeated in the conference, St. Pius with a loss, and some of those guys are going to play each other and give each other a loss down the road. So Maryville just got to take care of business, try to get another MEC title in their hands.
Up the middle on 1st and 10, a pickup of 4, Tucker Turner. As Turner checks out, Sadler View back into the game. .205 left to play in this one. The Spoof Hounds' dominance of Cameron continues. Although no Derek Quinlan for much of this fourth quarter after getting banged up late in the game. Matthew Walter threw a touchdown pass, led another scoring drive. Here he hands off to Colton Amy. Amy able to shut a couple arm tackles, gets out across the 47-yard line before he's brought down at the 46.
Good tough run again by Colton Amy. Had a 4-yard touchdown on that last drive. Again, a senior has worked his tail off in this Maryville Spoofhound program. Good to see him get some carries and good to see him get a touchdown here on homecoming night.
Clock is moving after that 8-yard pickup. And a 1st and 10 on the way for the Hounds. Inside 90 seconds left to go in this homecoming matchup. Looking to send the Cameron Dragons on to a 2-3 overall record and 0-3 in conference play. The end around goes to Don Allen. Allen gets out to the left sideline before he's forced out of bounds. And a pickup of 8 for Don.
That time, Don Allen got to get around the corner and give that cornerback all he could handle. A couple of bodies flying there. Good, tough 8-yard run on 1st down, and wisely stays in bounds, keeps the clock moving. Cameron out of timeouts. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Down to a 2nd down and 2. Maryville running the football very well in this fourth quarter as they are just eating up this clock. Walter back under center. He has Tucker Turner behind him, goes to a knee, and that should be just about it as Cameron on the defensive line. Little extracurriculars there as the Spoofhounds just trying to run the clock out on this one, down to 22 seconds remaining. And that is the final play of the football game. Maryville's going to come away a 21-0 victory here on homecoming. They improved to 4-1 overall, 3-0 in conference play. Meanwhile, the Cameron Dragons fall to 2-3 and 0-3 in the MEC. Maryville wins it by the score of 21-0. We will take a break and we'll come back. Coming up in postgame, we'll have your stats. We will also have Maryville head football coach Matt Webb joining us. That's all on the way right here on KXCV Maryville, KRNW, Chillicothe.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Pitzenberger Auto Body in Maryville, providing auto collision repair and taking the dents out of accidents. Pitzenberger's also installs ultimate truck bed liners. More at 660-582-4599 or facebook.com/Pitts Body Shop.
Support for Spoofhound football comes from Midwest Data Center, specializing in IT and cybersecurity services, including advanced threat monitoring, intrusion prevention, and zero trust solutions. Midwest Data Center, located just off the square in Maryville, and online at mwdata.net.
Support for the Spoofhounds on radio comes from Mosaic Medical Center of Maryville, providing comprehensive care close to home. For more information or to schedule an appointment, 660-562-2525 or mymlc.com/Maryville. And from local Edward Jones Financial Advisors, offering retirement and investment advice to help customers reach financial goals. Jeanette Paget, J.R. Kurz, Jeff Von Barron, Chad Hannigan, and Scott Nielsen of Edward Jones Maryville are proud supporters of the Spoofhounds. Also from Maryville Shelter Insurance Agent Brad Ford, a proud supporter of the Spoofhounds. Brad provides coverage for auto, home, life, and business, 24 hours claims assistance, and insurance reviews. More at 562-2911 or in office at 102 North Buchanan. And Nucor LMP on East 1st in Maryville, specializing in cold-finished steel products while emphasizing safety for its employees. Nucor is a proud supporter of Spoofhound Athletics. For more information, 660-582-3127.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Pitzenberger Auto Body in Maryville, providing auto collision repair and taking the dents out of accidents. Pitzenberger's also installs ultimate truck bed liners. More at 660-582-4599 or facebook.com/Pitts Body Shop. And from the United States Air Force, offering more than 130 career choices, education, benefits, and more. Full and part-time opportunities are available now. For more information, Technical Sergeant Katrina Smith can be reached at 816-341-8227 or airforce.com. Also from Millen Dinsdale Seed, serving farmers across the region for over a decade. Millen Dinsdale represents Golden Harvest Seed, Pivot Bio Proven 40, and Precision Planting. To learn more, millendinsdaleseed.com. And U.S. Bank, providing banking services to Northwest students and the community. U.S. Bank is a proud supporter of Spoof Hound Athletics and Maryville High School. More on their products, services, and locations is at usbank.com.
This is Spoof Hound Postgame on KXCV KRNW.
Maryville comes away with a 21-0 victory here at home, coming over the Cameron Dragons alongside Philip Horn. I am Matt Trin. Thanks for joining us for another great night of high school football here on KXCV at KRNW. And boy, Philip, you come in and another tough game where they're just trying to grind you out, eat up as much clock as possible. We saw a similar thing with Chillicothe. Of course, it's Chillicothe. Late in that second quarter, a couple big plays broke things open. Maryville never looked back. Credit Cameron for doing a nice job of holding onto the football, eating up clock, taking advantage and getting turnovers when they could. But ultimately, Maryville just overpowered them.
Cameron comes into this ball game defeated by Chillicothe the week before in an overtime loss, 20-26. Hard-fought game. Their game plan was working tonight. Really, for most of the night, their game plan was in check. Maryville had a little bit of adversity to face. Derek Quinlan goes out of the ball game, but for the 8th time in the series since 2010, Maryville blanks Cameron on the scoreboard, puts up 21 points, and one of those a heroic throw by Matthew Walter to really open this thing up, a 62-yard bomb down the sideline to Wyatt Garner. Derek Quinlan finishes the night 13 of 19, 68% there, with one touchdown, 202 yards, and Maryville ends the night with 323 total yards. That's a great night by most stats, but you think about what happened last week, and Derek by himself threw for 409 yards. So Maryville's going to look at some tape and go, you know what? We survived a letdown game, if you will, and we still got some big games in front of us next week at Benton, and then we travel to Macon for the Luther North showdown. Luther North currently #1 in Class 4. That's going to be a big-time battle, but before we get there, got to take care of business at Benton, and Maryville right now looking really good in conference play. So they just got to keep their goals in front of them and see what happens throughout the course of this week with your starting quarterback sidelined here in the second half.
Big 21-0 victory for Maryville. And again, the adversity, like you mentioned, a lot of big goals for this team down the road to be able to come out, put up 2 touchdowns despite Derek Quinlan still not being out there for much of that fourth quarter. Says a lot about this team, the character of this team, another big shutout. Now, as we flip sides and look at what Cameron was able to do on the evening, they had 116 total yards in that opening half. They finished with 146. Maryville doing a nice job of putting the clamps on the Dragons, shutting down some of those drives. Just 26 rushing yards and 4 passing yards for the Dragons in the second half. 142 total rushing yards in this one for Cameron. 50 of those going to Kenton Gates and 41 to Hudson Loader. Also for Cameron on the night, Peyton Garr, 24 yards on the ground, 15 for River Meadows. Alec Leesenby, -1 yards, not able to get much going on the evening as Maryville comes out and does a nice job of handling that Cameron offense overall and keeping them out of the end zone for a 3rd consecutive game. Maryville head football coach Matt Webb joining us now post-game up in the press box. Coach, appreciate you coming up and talking with us. And boy, you talked about it. It's a Cameron team that wanted to be able to step up and control the football and control the clock. And they had a heck of a second quarter especially, where your boys came out and put them away in that fourth.
Yeah, it was. It was, we talked about it, all week. And, and really our guys had a really good week of practice. And like I said, this team is really listening and, doing things well. And then we just, that the thing is, when you play that style of offense, you've got to take every advantage you have when you're on offense. And we didn't do that. We drive the field. First series of the game, we go right down the field and score. Explosive, everything's great. And then all of a sudden, they start chucking away. We couldn't get off the field on 3rd down, which seems to be something we need to continue to work on. And it was a fit here, a fit there. It wasn't anything special. Our defensive scheme was sound. It just, we couldn't get off the field. So, and then when we were on offense, we had a couple turnovers that really hurt us. And again, it's just a clock battle.
Is that one you come away with? You think about a couple of red zone turnovers. You still win this one 21-0. That, you know what, we went through, we battled some adversity against a solid football team across the way, and this is something that we can build off of because we did step up and responded defensively, but also have a young quarterback in Wyatt Garner go out there and help guide a couple drives later.
Yeah, Matthew, came in there late and did a great job. Hit Wyatt on a long ball there and really executed our offense and thought he did a good job. When you lose Derek and Matthew stepped in, and that's good to see. I think the message is, number one, I've said it, give credit to Cameron for a much improved football team. You can see it coming, and Wes Bell does a good job. That's a message to the guys. It's like, does everybody just think that, why can't Cameron improve? Those guys worked hard in the offseason. They've got a good, tough scheme. The kids play hard. You give them credit, guys. I got to buy donuts again this weekend because it's, another shutout. A few weeks ago, everybody's celebrating, hey, we got to buy a shutout. Let's go get donuts. Well, guess what? It's 21-0. We just had a good win. We're 1-0 on the week, and we'll move on to next week.
Defensively, as they're sitting there, they're trying to grind you down, especially in that second quarter. Is that just them chipping away? And you mentioned some of the run fits and just kind of fixing some of that, but you look at your defensive linemen. Is there any worry of like, man, are we going to get gassed if they stay out here on this field too long?
Yeah, we rotated well, and we've got a good rotation scheme, and that's what, we say early in the year when you got guys like Jackson Nielsen coming in and really spelling guys. We got really good depth, and we need to continue to use that, and keeps guys fresh, like you said, when you're playing a run-dominant offense like that. And, I haven't seen stats yet, but, we didn't give up, big plays. It was just kind of they chunked away, and there was a clock issue there where, they'd run it all the way down, and then they use all their timeouts at, sporadic times to get organized, and it just, kind of a hard, definitely two different, compared to last week with both offenses being up-tempo and everything. So, it's a totally different ballgame.
The one time they throw in the second half, and then, of course, anytime they try to pitch and get outside, does that get your defensive backs and linebackers licking their chops a little bit, just wanting to get in there and wanting to hit somebody because so much of that is 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Yeah, I think so. That's what's, when you're a defensive back with this, when you play this flexible and stuff, it is frustrating. And, that one pass, I think that was pretty evident. Boston came up and had a great hit. Hageman did, and, stopped him for nothing. And, our guys are used to those schemes. But you got to be able to play both. We talk about run support and run defense, and it's not just, the D-line and linebackers making tackles for loss. It's fits, and we'll watch this stuff, and because, who knows, we might see these guys again, and, we need to make some adjustments.
Wyatt Garner, you mentioned a little bit earlier, Matthew Walter coming in and did a nice job, but that was a contested catch on the sideline right in front of you guys. How hard is it to go up and make that catch, but then to stay in bounds too? Yeah,
absolutely. I thought it was, great play all around. Matthew put it up, and, you throw it up to Wyatt. He's just another playmaker we got that, has been able to, he caught at a high point, and like you said, to be able to tiptoe that sideline and go right down the tick marks was great.
Benton next week, going on the road, another tough MEC battle. It's nice to be back home, but the chance to go on the road and upset maybe someone else's homecoming or a senior day and kind of beating up on the south side, is that something you look forward to a little bit?
Yeah, it's a short trip compared to what we took the first 3 weeks. It's a easy trip to Benton. Our guys are used to playing there. Should be a good week.
Maryville with a 21-0 win this evening. Coach Webb, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Maryville head football coach Matt Webb joining us here post-game, a 21-0 victory. Spoofhounds 4-1 overall and 3-0 in the MEC. We'll take a timeout and be back to wrap things up here from the Hound Pound.
Support for the Spoof Hounds on radio comes from Nottoway Valley Bank. NVB has been serving generations of Northwest Missouri families for more than 150 years. More information on location or online at nvb.com. Member FDIC. And from Twaddle Realty in Maryville. Broker Brian Twaddles provided real estate services for residential, farm, and commercial properties to the area for more than 25 years. More information available at 562-7562 or twaddlerealty.com. Today's game is also brought to you by Northwest AV on East 3rd Street in Maryville. Northwest AV offers business and residential design and installation on projects including home theaters, vehicle remote starts, surveillance cameras, and more. Details available at nw-av.com. And Mosaic Medical Center Maryville, providing comprehensive care close to home. For more information or to schedule an appointment, 660-562-8255. 2525 or mymlc.com/Maryville.
Spoofhound football on KXCV KRNW is underwritten by Hallelujah Counseling on South Main in Maryville, offering Christian-based mental health counseling. Services include anxiety and depression therapy, trauma counseling, stress management, relationship issues, and more. Additional information at hallelujahcounseling.com. That's HALLELUJAH, counseling.com. And from Oak Point Assisted Living and Memory Care in Maryville, Oak Point offers private apartments and other services for seniors. More at provisionliving.com and at 660-562-2799. Also from the Student Body Screen Printing and Embroidery located on 4th Street in Maryville. The Student Body provides Spoofhound fanware as well as custom screen printing and embroidery for teams, clubs, and businesses throughout Spoofhound Nation. And Northwest Missouri Regional Credit Union, serving the area since 1933, offering loans, savings and checking accounts, credit cards, share certificates, and online banking. Located at the intersection of Highway 71 and East South.
This is Spoofhound Postgame on KXCV KRNW.
Back on KXCV KRNW one last time as Maryville comes away with a 21-0 victory over the Cameron Dragons. 4-1 overall, 3-0 in conference play. Another good victory against a tough football team. Now a chance to take it on the road for Benton.
And you look at it from the standpoint of the final score, 21-0, and very easily this game could have been 35-0. You know, at one point in the ball game, in the red zone, ball's out, Cameron falls on top of that, turnover, goes the way of Cameron. Another time, get your young quarterback in there. Matthew Walter throws an interception right about the goal line, turnover. So it could have very easily been a 35-0 game, 21-0. Coach will take that, put a 0 on the scoreboard for the third year in a row. Cameron, a much improved football team. You know, you see the fight in them, you see the grit, the determination, and they came here to play tonight. So you like to see that, and it reminds me a bit of my pickleball game. Don't forget, be there tomorrow. When I play pickleball, Matt, it's grit and determination. A little bit of shiftiness, a little bit of luck, but got to limit those turnovers. So
with a lot of your shots is a lot of luck.
Speaking of luck, we want to wish you good luck tomorrow in the inaugural St. Joe Marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K.
And a relay.
And I believe your wife might be running as well, 10K?
Yep.
6.2 miles. So hopefully, again, your feet are dry when you get back. You got to rush back up here because you and John Coffey got a big game tomorrow. Lincoln Blue Tigers in town. Kickoff now at 12 o'clock.
Now at noon, yep, moving that one up because of the chance of some weather a little bit later on in the afternoon. We'll have pregame right here on KXCV Maryville, KRNW Chillicothe starting at 11 o'clock. That's coming up for you tomorrow. Next Friday night, Philip and I will be in St. Joseph on the south side. Maryville taking on Benton. That'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff, 6:30 pregame right here on KXCV KRNW. Great to see you again, Philip.
Great to see you again, Matt. You got any good restaurants picked out for us next week down on the south side? What's your favorite? You were a St. Joe guy. You lived there for a little while.
I did live there for a little while.
Good spot. Don't say like Hawaiian Brothers.
We're going to save it
okay.
We'll say next week. We'll
next
save it next week.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Tune back in and find out.
Some gems down there.
Maryville wins it tonight, 21-0. The homecoming victory over the Cameron Dragons. The Spoofhounds are now 4-1 overall and 3-0 in conference play. Cameron falls to 2-3 and 0-3 in the MEC. One last time, we want to remind you that tonight's broadcast was brought to you by Northwest Cell, as well as the St. Joseph, Missouri Sports Commission, as they are preparing for the first St. Joseph Marathon coming up tomorrow. It starts and finishes behind Civic Center Park in downtown St. Joe. Race distances include the full marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K, and a relay. Registration wraps up this evening at stjomosports.com/marathon. They're also welcoming out anybody that wants to come out and take part in the festivities. Gets underway at 7 o'clock with the start of the marathon tomorrow. For Philip Porin, I'm Matt Trent. Thanks to Jessica Pettycourt back in the KXCV KLRNW studios for us. Maryville with a 21-0 winner. We'll step aside saying so long from the Hound Pound.